Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, patriots all over our country that is under God, welcome to tonight's Red America First Town Hall, the nation's most engaging platform where we, the people, run the show. Red for the blood of Christ, America First policies and candidates, and I'm your host, Ashley Wise. Welcome to hashtag Town Hall by Red America First, where the spirit of our nation's founders meets the challenges of tomorrow. For 3 years, we stood as a beacon of unity and strength, draped in the symbolic red of our conviction, dedicated to America First policies and the Christian values that our nation was founded on. Here we gather not just to discuss, but to act, empowering our community through education, engagement, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Town Hall is igniting the conversations that matter. We're at the forefront of a movement to ensure a free and prosperous, vibrant future for all Americans.
And I'm your co-host, Valerie Weiss. Tonight, we are so excited to have Tara Cornett, owner of Flame Natural Decon, a veteran and fire family-owned company revolutionizing personal care with a holistic approach. Do not forget to join us on Monday, June 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Pastor's Point. Pastor's Point's goal is to share the gospel of Jesus and grow in the knowledge of the Word of God and encourage all to adhere to biblical principles.
Here on hashtag Town Hall, we will have several future episodes booked. Next Thursday, we'll be having Robert Lewis Kraft. With our United Republic, we'll be discussing Trump's tariffs and the dissolution of the United States America Inc. And June 19th, we'll be having Mariam Heenan, a journalist that will be sharing her truth about what really happened during the George Floyd situation. We all need some support from our viewers and those that have the will to help. Our team relies on the support, so please visit givesendgo.com/RedAmericaFirst/donate. For those joining the live stream tonight, we're looking to grow our live panel. We want team members in every state of the union, so you can engage with guests directly like Tara Cornett and participate in the famous state-to-state intel round. Sign up today at redamericafirst.com and tell us what state you're in. Every episode, we always start with prayer to the Lord, and then Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll do the national anthem. So tonight, we're going to call on Dr. Aaron Gray. He will be leading us into prayer tonight. He is a host of Pastor's Point. That's Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So here we go. Thank you, Pastor, for leading us into prayer. Thank you so much. Oh, he's got a mute problem. Thank you so much.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we just thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you that we can come together on this podcast, in this forum, be united in our drive to find and pursue what is best for this country, what is best where you want us to go, Father, where we know that it is America First policies you want us to have. And Lord, we ask you to drive us towards that, move us in the direction of your will, as your own son said in the garden. Not my will, but yours be done. And that's what we pray here now, that your will is done in this place. So we ask you to open our hearts, open our eyes, and our ears to see, to know, to understand. So those who do have eyes to see and ears to hear can, and we can grasp what it is you want for us this night, this evening, and going forward as we stay united, stay connected, and stay in communion with each other. And as we stay in communion with you, we ask you, Lord, to let this fellowship be strong and true in spirit, Father, worshiping you, following your example, going where you point us to go. In the holy and precious name of Jesus Christ, we all say, amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Dr. Gray, host of Pastor's Point. Now we're going to call on the co-founder of Red America First, Valerie Weiss, and she's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much in advance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Now we're going to call on the Oklahoma State Chapter Leader, Leslie Mahan. She's going to lead us in the national anthem, and she does a great job. She might be adding. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley and Valerie. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. When the rockets roared clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof of the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and
Amazing job,
Amazing.
Leslie. Good
That
job.
was cool. I like it.
We really liked that you added the music to that. That was really good. So, wow, what a good way to start an interview with Tara Cornett tonight, CEO of Flame, all the way from Colorado. How did you like that intro? Tell us a little bit about you, what state you're from, where you grew up, all that, and thank you for coming on Town Hall tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. I live in Colorado. I am originally from San Diego. I am a Navy veteran though, and then worked for the Army and the Marine Corps as a civilian. So I've kind of lived all over the place. But I love it here in Colorado, and as long as it doesn't get any crazier, I plan to stay.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's nice out there.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll dive into some questions here. So here at Red America First, we're all about living clean, keeping toxins like aluminum out of our daily routines. Your activated charcoal body wash and shampoo are game changers, pulling out nasty stuff like PFAS and soot for firefighters and workers. What sparked your idea for this natural powerhouse, and how does it fit with our push for healthier, chemical-free lives?
Yeah, absolutely. So my brother is a firefighter in San Diego. He used to be with CAL FIRE and is now with the city of San Diego. And I found out about their increased risk for cancer. Firefighters have an enormous increased risk for cancer over the general population. And there's been studies out for years, for decades to show that. So I found out about this and realized that there was stuff out there to decon the apparatus, decon the station, decon the gear. There was nothing out there to clean the firefighter themselves. And the firefighter's obviously the one that gets cancer. So that's really what sparked the idea, realizing there wasn't anything out there to clean the firefighter, and that what's out there on the market, regular soaps just don't do the job. They don't remove everything that they need to remove. So that's really what sparked the idea. And then to kind of figure it out, though, I really just dug into the research of figuring out what was best for decon. And activated charcoal is amazing for decon, but you have to use it right. You have to know what you're doing with it. And any other activated charcoal product you've seen out there on the market uses one type of activated charcoal. And as I was digging into the research on this, I realized how activated charcoal works is that you have to match. Now, so let me back up. There's different types of activated charcoal derived from different natural resources. and they all have different pore sizes when they're created. So to remove a carcinogen or toxin with activated charcoal, you have to match the pore size of the activated charcoal with the size of the carcinogen you're trying to remove. It gets close to it, draws it in, and washes it away. So you have to use different types to remove different sizes of carcinogens. And everybody else out there is using one type, so removing certain sizes of carcinogens. We have our proprietary blend that removes all sizes of carcinogens. That's why it's great for Decon. And then all our other ingredients work with it to get the firefighter clean, not put anything toxic on their skin. Now, while I was developing this, though, as a veteran, I've known that the military needs this as well. There are so many MOSs, jobs in the military, that work with carcinogens, work with toxins. And even though the studies aren't caught up yet with the fire community, we know that the cancer risk in the military is probably just as high. It's very high. And then you take that and go, okay, but we have all these jobs in the military that also translate into the civilian world. So we have hardworking, blue collar, red blooded Americans out there working with carcinogens every day that can be using this to reduce the risk of cancer and other health related impacts.
Right. That's great. Thank you for that.
So
Yeah.
you're a Navy veteran. What was your rate, if I don't mind asking, Tara?
No, for sure. It's a little embarrassing, but I'll tell you. I was a journalist turned mass communication specialist in a public affairs command.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
that's
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's cool.
So being Navy veteran and fire family roots really hit your home, or well, sorry, really hit home for us at Red America First,
Yeah.
where we honor service and community. So Flames American-made products help protect firefighters from their cancer risks. Can you tell us how your time in the Navy and your brother's firefighting life kind of inspired you both to start Flame and stand up for our everyday heroes? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that my time in the military gave me that discipline to do the same thing over and over again to make this business successful, right? I think that's what I get from that. Um, but as far as so while I was active duty in my last few months in the military, I was deployed and attached to the Army, attached to an Army SF unit in Thailand, and got a Red Cross message that my dad had dropped out of a heart attack. So I lost my dad early. I was 25, my brother was 21. I was on the other side of the world. So now my brother having babies, it's so important to me that he is here through as old as they can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling a friend of mine earlier today that if I could give the knowledge of the pain of losing my dad 19 years ago, just the knowledge of that to people so that they could take care of themselves and be around for their families, like I just want to package that up,
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
just amazing. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here on Town Hall, we love sharing ways to stay healthy without harmful chemicals like skipping paraben heavy products. Flames shampoo and body wash detoxify while being gentle with stuff like aloe and coconut oil. Those are some of the stuff you have involved. How do you make sure these work tough for blue collar folks and outdoorsy types, but still feel keep their skin, soft?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, we've got things like shea butter, coconut oil, aloe in there that keep it soft. It's also not one of those products that has that grit in it, that's super gritty, that's going to rough you up. And I know that some guys like using that because it helps them feel super clean. But what I tell them is like, give Flame a chance because you'll feel super clean. You won't smell the nastiness on you, so you'll know you're clean, but it's not going to rough you up. You're going to feel refreshed. You're going to smell good. And you can use it every day because it's all naturally derived. It's not putting harmful chemicals on you that's going to break down your hair and skin. It's something you can use after your job every day. So
Nice. Yeah, that's good. I love all natural.
yeah.
So our organization, Red America First, is big on helping folks take charge of their wellness, right? So we've learned that we've been lied to about a great many things. I mean, heck, we lost some friends in our old community because we told people that fluoride was bad in our water. And then we were called crazy and all these things. And look, fast forward to today, the state of Florida is actually taking fluoride out of their water, and RFK Jr. is making it a national mandate. But in any event, Flame's products test clean of carcinogens and after use, which is huge for firefighters and tradespeople, really. How do you keep your concentrated formula affordable so hardworking Americans can actually use it and stay safer every single day? Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was truly one of the things that from the jump, I wanted to make sure that this was an affordable product for blue collar families. I mean, that's, everybody who uses my product, whether you're military or firefighter or someone working in construction in the civilian world, we're, blue collar families. My goal when I first launched it was to make it around $10 and that to have it be quality ingredients that were good for your skin. That just was not feasible. It couldn't happen. And having it be really clean. I mean, we have a 93 out of 100 rated excellent on Yuka. To make it that, I had to make it a bit more expensive than that. But a bottle of our shampoo and body wash is $24 with shipping. It's free shipping.
Oh, that's great.
So it's still reasonable. It's super concentrated too. So water is our sixth ingredient in that. So it'll last you forever. But it's really important to me to keep that balance and make sure that it's super high quality, but also affordable. And one of the ways that we do that is like we keep our manufacturing in-house. To date, I still make all of our products. We're actually looking at a move soon to hire somebody to make products for Flame, but they'll be an in-house employee. We won't be paying that extra to a manufacturing company. So it's super important to us.
Nice.
Perfect. Those that are watching the live stream, we're getting ready to open up Q&A for our entire panel members on hashtag town hall. But go ahead, Valerie.
Yep. So you've said swapping out toxic personal care products for cleaner ones like Flames. Can you change that will change lives bit by bit? Our town hall crowd loves practical steps rooted in family and purpose. How does Flames vision encourage Red America First fans to make these small, meaningful shifts for a healthier life? I guess you've kind of already gone through that, but it's just.
No, but let me add
What
to
would
it
be
for
an easy
sure.
way? What would be an
Yeah.
easy way to wake people up? I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one, we've made it super simple to just swap this out with what you're already using. We made Flame so that you use it, you don't use it at super cold temperature because that'll close down your pores around the toxins. You don't use it at a super hot temperature because it'll open your pores up to absorb more toxins before you can get it off your skin. So you use your lukewarm regular shower temperature, you swap it out with your shampoo and body wash that you're already using. It's a 2-in-1, it smells good, it feels good, you love it, and you really just use it like you use your other stuff. Another way that I encourage people is that Yuka app that I was talking about, Yuka, I don't know if I say it right. It's YUKA. You can download it. It's a free app. They have a scanner on it, and you can go scan the barcodes on basically everything in your house, and that will give you a score. And then it'll offer swap out options. So say you're using, your dish detergent, and it's not good for you. Say you're using Dawn. Dawn has carcinogenic ingredients in it. You can scan that. It'll tell you the score on it, tell you what ingredients are good or bad, and then it'll make suggestions of maybe you should get this instead and provide a link for you. So a super simple way to start swapping things out.
Right. No, that's amazing. Well, how can people find your website? We'll post it into the. I know, but I just want her to tell people because it's exciting.
Thank you. It's flamedecon.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Our first question is coming from Kansas. Frank, go with your question. Thank you in advance. We got Rob Ohio on deck. Guys, raise your hands. Thank you.
Hey, Tara. Hey, thanks for coming on here. Debbie and I are in the whole kind of organic system of things for whether it's humans or it's animals. And
Awesome.
I think, so what you got, I just had Debbie look up your stuff and she's going to get on your letter E. We have a really good friend in Loveland, Colorado, that if you can put your email or something, I'd like to connect to you because she has her own manufacturing of other consumables mainly. And she has some topical stuff, but she doesn't have, I think, in the area that you have. I think you guys would have a very interesting conversation. When you mentioned about activated charcoal, because you are correct, there, unless you do it correctly, you can overdo it, and the binders and things of that nature can be problematic. I know when people get sick or they have gut issues, or even let's say they're hungover, they jump on activated charcoal, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Another thing, you may know about this company, but it's called Organic Gut Solutions out of Anthony, Florida.
Okay.
They make a consumable to help kind of with your digestive, your gut, things of that nature. And they use ingredients of activated organic biocarbon, diatomaceous earth, which you're familiar with, which is great for dogs and cats, calcium bentonite. But that organization, this is the stuff, I don't know if you can see that, for our dog, for your pet. They also have one for, for humans, but they're in the same, I'm just bringing this up because this is another group that's had this and has their own, I don't know if it's proprietary, whatever it is, but it's been around a long time. And people that are in this, especially when you're dealing with things to take toxins, off, that's what we all need this stuff. Okay. We're friends with Dr. Brian Artis and some others that make things to remove stuff that has kind of come in the system, whether it's from the air, water, food. I'm not going to, EMF is different. All right. So the other part is the medications that people are getting, because there's venoms in medications. There's venoms in the shots. There's venoms in the GLP-1s right now. That's Gila Monster. All these things need taking out. So your product may fit into a bunch of these areas where people just made the mistake and got various injections, or they've taken something that's very popular for diabetes, or for weight gain, for weight loss. So yeah, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. And again, what I'll do is see if I can make some connections of people to you.
That would
Okay.
be wonderful. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that so much. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Perfect connection, Frank. No worries. We're gonna connect you and Tara together, no problem. Rob, Ohio, thanks. What question do you got? Thank you.
Well, hi, Tara. Does it work on all carcinogens, and does that include dioxins?
Yeah, it works on most. It just depends on what it is. There are a couple things it doesn't work well on. Say something like asbestos. It doesn't work great on removing asbestos. However, when I find those few things like asbestos, most of the time when we're coming across asbestos, the fibers are just so big that you don't need the activated charcoal to get that off. And when you're dealing with asbestos, usually it's not a skin problem. You're not absorbing it, you're inhaling it. So it really just depends on what it is. It's working on most toxins though.
Okay, but does that include dioxins?
I would have to look that up.
Oh, well, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All righty, thank you.
Tara, what are some of the, while we're waiting for more members to raise their hands, what are the most leading skin things that people try to resolve and reach out to your organization to solve? But what are some
Oh
of the
gosh, so many.
leading
I have
things? Just list the
had,
top five.
yeah, I've had somebody reach out when they've used pesticides that have gotten on them in the past and it has messed up their blood work. They've ended up in the hospital because of it. It happened again, and then they've grabbed their bottle of flame, showered with it, went to the hospital anyway just to get the blood work checked, and their blood work was fine. It completely removed all those harmful pesticides, and they didn't have to worry about it anymore. When the train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, I had a mother reach out. Her and her daughters had rashes all over them. The doctor was wanting to put her daughters on steroids, and she didn't want that. So she reached out. We sent her some flame. They used it as soon as it got there. Within a couple of days, the rashes were completely cleared up. Yeah, just stuff like that. Just those testimonials. I mean, most of the time, these guys are using it after a work day and removing the toxins that are coming, home with them or to the fire station with them every day. And my hope is that, they can tell it's working because the smell isn't there anymore. But my hope is that they'll never know that it worked because they don't won't get cancer. It's just,
Right.
yeah.
So you mentioned someone in East Palestine. Actually, Rob Ohio, he was ground zero. He's like
Wow.
Yeah.
he's like 1 mile from the. I think that's where he's at. Let's go ahead and call on Susan. Susan, go ahead with your question. Thank you for joining tonight.
Hi, Tara. Sorry, I came in a little under the wire. I was out with my grandson, so I didn't get all the information. But I pulled up your website, and I guess my question is because I didn't get all the full information. Does this also remove like nanobots, graphene oxide, things that aerial chemtrails would spray on people? Have you been able to test for anything like that?
We've tested for carcinogens and gunshot residue. Those particular things I would have to look up again. I'm be really honest with you. There are so many little things that I have looked up and checked and have charts of all these things that it removes, but I also have a TBI, so I don't retain it. So I could, if you guys want to email me though, I'm happy to look up those types of things.
No problem. Thanks for
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Susan.
Yeah, definitely.
Geez, we had Rosemary up here. Rosemary had a question. Go ahead, Rosemary, and then Val's gonna follow up.
Didn't have a question, but this sounds interesting. I'm wondering if people become like members or sponsors of our organization, can we have their products listed on our organization?
So I
Is
think
there-
that question's to Valerie and I, and the answer is very simple. We will put their products on our store. Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that would be good to do because there
Yes.
are so many good products and good ideas out there that are not available to people and they don't even know about it. So that might be an opportunity, a mutual opportunity, let's say, okay?
Yeah. What a great idea. Yes.
Definitely.
Thank you for that. So
Well,
let's see our corruption pillar leader all the way from Hawaii. He always has great things to say. So let's see what question he has. Thank you so much, Miguel. So team,
Yeah.
you know how to raise your hands. Help me out here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I came in a little late too. I apologize. A lot of things with skin you mentioned. I was wondering if there's anything that relates to shingles.
Oh gosh. I don't know. You guys are stumping me tonight. I've had people use it for all kinds of skin conditions. I've got a guy in Australia that's got rosacea and psoriasis, and it's the only thing that he'll use because it's the only thing that keeps his skin calm.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question there, Miguel. So I gotta ask something. What about aluminum? Isn't aluminum like I keep hearing metals are bad for your scalp, for your skin. And I see aluminum in things, I see alcohol in things, so it's hard for us to decipher what I mean, head and shoulders, all those things are really bad for us.
Yeah, aluminum's not good for you. And actually, our products remove aluminum really well. I've got a guy who does grinding of aluminum, and it just like the little shards get all over him. And he's tried like the Gojo, the D-Lead, the you name it. Nothing works, but Flame works for him. Just takes it right off.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your products are safe enough to even use on pets, probably.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
the
So
dogs
I,
that are
I
in the
first
military-
found out how well they work on pets when my brother was on shift and his dog got hit by a skunk and my sister-in-law was there and just grabbed the flame and
Right.
it worked so well. Yeah, and I've since had all kinds of people tell me that that's happened with their pets. And absolutely, I've looked up in the pet, what's safe for pets just to make sure that we're not doing any harm to pets and totally safe for pets as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those with dry skin psoriasis type challenges, what is a product that you guys have that would help with that?
So the guy that uses it uses our shampoo and body wash, and he just said it's the only thing that doesn't, flare it up, that keeps his skin calm, and it's the only thing he'll use. And I think it's just a matter of the activated charcoal. One, activated charcoal can be very healing, and the clean ingredients.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Very good.
Uh-oh, so we got a question coming from the Lone Star State of Texas. So let's go ahead, Becky, you got the floor. Thank you so much.
Okay, I had a question. If I would need to use like an organic mosquito spray, sometimes I'll just break down and I have to use some because the mosquitoes are so bad. How can I use that in conjunction with your product? Do I put it on before or after, or use your product at what point?
So I would just wash the mosquito spray off after you're done with it.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
use your product after that?
No, you don't need any other product with ours. So after you use your mosquito spray, when you go to get in the shower, just use the Flame shampoo and body wash or soap to wash off that mosquito spray and the rest of your body.
Okay, and do you recommend using your product on a regular basis as a preventative also then?
I do. It's the only thing I use anymore, and I use it on my whole body. I even wash my face with it.
Okay, well, thank you
Yeah.
very much. It's a very interesting conversation tonight.
Thank you.
Oh man, we gotta go back from East Palestine. Let's see how that goes.
Okay, Tara, got another question for you.
Yeah.
I've heard tell where they can use oils and stuff to draw out things and carcinogens in your bloodstream and stuff, like mineral oil in your belly button. Can this be used like that? Is it harmful to leave it on the skin for a while?
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. I've had people use it when they get like poison oak, poison ivy. It'll help with that. Yeah, you can absolutely leave it on the skin for a while if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure.
Another question from the Lone Star State. Go ahead, Becky, with your go back. Thank you.
Yes, I just thought of something else. Can you use your product if the person has like a heat rash? Have you had an experience with that yet?
I haven't had feedback on that, but I wouldn't see why not.
Okay, I'd be willing to try it then. All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think with all those natural product items in your product, that you could use it for probably just about anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the way it
absolutely.
sounds. Yeah.
Because the oils, the coconut oil, and it was why am I drawing a blank? The aloe and stuff. That's always good for your skin. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and aloe actually has some of the enzymes in it that break down like fats, oils, sugars, carbs, stuff like that, that allows that stuff to release from the skin too. So,
oh, nice.
yeah,
That's great to know.
yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Any other questions?
Well, let's see. Let's see if our pastor's got anything to add here. Nope, no, nothing from the. Oh, maybe he does. Doctor, do you want to ask any skin question to Tara?
Actually, I will. Tara, earlier you were talking about how you got a guy who uses it for eczema and things. And I have psoriasis, and I know you mentioned that. My question is, because of my psoriasis, it affects the joints. So does your product help with that as well? Or is it strictly just the skin?
You know, it just depends on what it is that's affecting the joints. If it's toxins coming in through your skin that's affecting your joints, then this can remove those toxins. But I don't know enough about psoriasis to know what that mechanism is that's affecting the joints.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was reading an article about some chemical that has been put in shampoos, and this is kind of alarming because it literally makes people's hair fall out. So I would feel safe using your shampoo because it's not going to have any of those kind of chemicals in it. And, you know, people have been, this is why we have a balding problem in our country, probably because no one really knew about it. So
Well,
if
you
could
know
go
what else,
down-
Valerie? This is pretty funny. So I have a friend of mine who's a hairstylist in San Diego. Her entire salon now keeps Flame on their back bar and uses it for everyone to come in because it's the best clarifying shampoo that they've ever used.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, with the
Yeah,
charcoal and
yeah.
everything. That's great. I'll have to tell my hairstylist about that, even though she's a beta concept, which is all natural too, but she would probably throw some Flame in her salon too.
So
I'll
you said
chat-
Aveda?
yeah. Mhm.
Use the Yuka app and check out Aveda.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Bad.
they've branded really well for decades, but
Not so good.
yeah,
Very, very interesting.
Interesting.
So you
isn't
said,
it?
Yeah, it is because they go. I mean,
I know.
yes, yeah,
I know.
very crazy.
I was shocked. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I actually am right now.
so did you have to go to 32nd Street? You mentioned San Diego, so you have friends there, or?
So I grew up in San Diego. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
wow,
originally
okay.
from San Diego.
I used to live in Rancho Bernardo, right off.
Oh, that's
15.
awesome. My brother just moved to Escondido.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a little bit north of me.
Yep.
I was there when the fires went across the 15.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was a
I-
kid living there, but yeah.
I couldn't believe how crazy the fires could get.
Yeah, so some of the wildfires there.
The Santa
Man.
Ana winds really could take it. Team, any more questions for Tara before we go to intel round? Let's see, Sandra, Nevada. You want to ask some skin questions, or Shell, Texas, Soliday, Pennsylvania. Let's see, Joanne or Katie, Florida. Let's see, Joanne or Katie, Florida. Anybody? Tara's here for us, guys, to ask any of the skin questions. Well, shoot. Tara, we Valerie and I, well, Valerie definitely loves your products a little bit more than I do. Oh, wait, there's some questions coming in. Wait, Joanne?
Take the phone.
Joanne?
No, just answer the question.
Well, they're yapping over there. So let's go. Let's get back to I like the idea Rosemary presented. Valerie and I are kind of in the process of redesigning the website. We have a store. We're already planning to put some of our Patriot team members that are making products already that are in the Red America First family, but we'd love to connect with you and see how we can add your products.
I would love that. Thank you guys so much.
We like
And
to
we would like-
support veterans and USA products, and especially you make them. I mean, that's amazing. So
Thank you.
And to that extent, we'd like we'd like to stay connected so we could bring you on in the future to talk about these things, because there is another variant of COVID coming out right now that's in America. So we all need to be cognizant about what is in some of the products that we buy that's harmful, and at the same time, what our enemies pushing out on us for us to think it's okay, and really it's not. So we'd love for you to also come back on the platform in the future.
That would be wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. And the
Thank you.
website
We're
again.
honored to have you on our show.
And the website again, so those that want to hear this holistic skincare product, Tara's going to tell us the website.
Absolutely. It's flamedecon.com, FLAMEDECON.com. And then if they want to reach out, my email is Tara, TARA, @flamedecon.com.
Perfect. Tara, thank you so much for coming on #Town Hall, and we'll have you come on in the future. So
sounds great. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And
Wow.
you can hang out for intel if you want. It's up to you.
Okay, sounds good. I think I'm going to drop. We have a new product launch coming up that I'm working on.
Yay. Okay,
Thank you
perfect.
guys.
Thank
Have a great
you.
night.
Perfect.
We'll see you soon.
No problem. I'm adding people to help me run the intel round. There's a lot of people. I just want to make sure, is this Rob, California, that I'm trying to unmute right here?
Rob, Florida.
No.
Or
no,
Bob, Florida.
Not Bob, Florida. There's hang on a second. I just got to get my bearings straight. Yeah, it is. It is Rob, California.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, good. So if you're okay with this, Rob, I'd like you to also be in the panel here for the intel round. Okay. I'm gonna call on Dave Presto to add him to Spotlight.
And down in Pennsylvania?
I think he says he's in Ohio today. I don't know.
Oh, Ohio today? Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Let's see if I could get maybe Larry, California up here. He definitely pointed out a gap that Valerie and I need to fill when it relates to our outreach. He definitely helped me out with that today. Thank you, Larry. Hopefully I was able to wait. This isn't Larry. This is Larry, Georgia. Larry, Georgia, or Larry, California? I can't tell. He's not unmuting. But in this mystery event, we're gonna move on and talk. Bob, Miguel, so Rob, Frank, Bob, California. So I got two Bobs. I got one in Florida, one in California. Okay, that's cool. All right. We got a lot of things to talk about. Hopefully I get Rosemary up here. Hopefully I get Shell up here. Hopefully I get Susan Hawaii. Hopefully I get Sandra, Nevada, Kathy, New York. I'm unmuting you guys, so let's get ready. Well, one thing I want to bring up tonight, I got a laundry list of stuff. So let me bring that up so I don't forget, because I think there's a big list. So Valerie, make sure Valerie covers the James Comey topic that she wants to bring up. We're going to bring up Kai Trump. We're going to bring up some information about a vaccine topic that we're going to bring up. We're also going to bring up a travel ban that got implemented in a couple of, in 4 days it'll be implemented, but it was announced yesterday. We're going to talk about Harvard. We're going to talk about Golden Dome. We're going to talk about the Biden health cover-up, the Trump, the aluminum tariffs, the Boulder terror attack. Geez, Trump's tax cut is, that, and also the controversy with Elon Musk. We're going to cover that. fertility clinic bombers accomplice was arrested. So we're going to talk about that. Mike Johnson, national debt security issue. We're going to discuss a Florida plane landed right off of the Banana River in near Melbourne, Florida, yesterday or day before yesterday. There's hurricanes coming. And anyway, there's a lot of topics that we're going to discuss tonight. So out of all those, I'm sure I missed some. So Rob, I want you to think of a topic. McGay, so Bob, Dave, Rob, California, Larry, California, Frank, Kansas, and I'm going to put it on unmute, so those that are on the sidelines can interact. Please be respectful and don't step on each other. This is a professional environment. We got a lot of news to spread to our community. Valerie and I are going to take a quick bio break. So Rob, you got it. We'll be back.
All right. Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about is East Palestine. A week and a half ago, some lawyers got a hold of some paperwork from FEMA that they've been hiding. They actually had to go and sue them for it with the FOIA requests. And it came, I don't know if anyone else has seen this on News Nation or any of the other reports, but they found out that there's a lot of collusion between the White House, the CDC, FEMA, and the EPA to cover up the fact that East Palestine has a good possibility of becoming a cancer cluster due to all of the carcinogens that were released during the train derailment. The thing is they were talking about it privately, but publicly they were telling all of us there's no problem, everything's fine. The government not only colluded among themselves to cover it up, but then they lied to the American people, to us, everyone, trying to downplay it. And even now that it's been burst a little bit open, all the talking heads and our ex-politicians are running around screaming something's got to be done when they knew about this back then. We cannot trust our government. No. But that's had me a little bit ticked off for the last couple of weeks, so I just wanted to clear the air with that. Has anybody else heard about what's going on here?
I actually live. I'm
Palestine.
just outside of Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh, okay. So, which side of Pittsburgh?
East Palestine side.
Oh,
I
me too.
I literally sit dead smack right. I'm in the center of East Palestine in the city of Pittsburgh. So, and for me, it's a 15-20 minute drive. For us, we've gotten letters. We filled them out. We've sent them back in. We were supposed to get checks. We've never gotten anything. None of us. I have friends who live over there that are actually in East Palestine. They work here at the Beaver Medical Center. So, you know, they're smart. They got jobs. They know how to handle themselves, and they're struggling. They're struggling. There's not much help for them. They've kind of been left in the wind. And as you get a little bit further out and you go through their steps in their mapping, it gets less and less transparent with information. So there's a lot of stonewalling that goes with that. So
I'm a half a mile away from the derailment.
Okay.
And we haven't received anything yet. And even then, even though we're close, you know, they say the maximum of 25,000. I've heard nobody getting 25,000 yet. It's always been a lot less. And the really kind of ticked me off was that all the people that came to clean up, all the Norfolk employees or contractors, they're also in on the suit. But yeah, Western PA, they got nailed.
And they'll probably get paid before the actual townspeople.
Oh, no doubt. Or the lawyers will probably get paid.
Well, they get paid first and foremost always. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. And yeah, sorry that you're that close to it. But yeah.
You gotta live somewhere.
Yeah. I love Pittsburgh, but yeah.
All righty. Well, Magaso, what would be your topic? Unless somebody
Oh,
else has something to say about
yeah,
that. I know I was kind of hogging the microphone.
no, that's okay. Well, there's a lot of topics to go on, but I came across one today that we're still sending $40,000 a week to the Taliban. And there are over 1,000 NGOs in Afghanistan that we're still sending money to. So I don't know if this is all part of the Doge thing that was exposed, and now we have the fight between supposedly Trump and Elon, but looks more like theater to me. It's curious to why are we still sending money over there?
Well, because we can't send it here.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, we send it here. Our governor on a sideline with that. I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but he's putting a tax forward for climate change for the people visiting Hawaii. So the movement of people would be taxed, and, as well as the locals if they went from island to island, which is actually a violation of the 14th Amendment. But we do things here. They're still planning climate change initiative, sea level rise, and all that. It's all in the planning for this year.
Are you wearing your waders with all the sea rise? Yeah, so the climate change for you would be anything. I mean, you live in paradise. Anything for you would be straight downhill. Have you noticed any difference? Or
Well, no, I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, even with COVID, we're in the best environment not to be even involved with their experimental vaccines or anything else that we're pushing, because we live in a healthy environment and we need to be out in the sun all the time. So by putting us inside, that was a shock to our systems when they locked us down. So that's how people get sick, by staying indoors. We're perfectly fine outdoors, but this is a deep state, deep state. It's so blue, they have to make a new color of dark blue.
Violet.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Maybe that flame product would help eliminate some of the toxins here.
The whole concept of rising waters around Hawaii is contradictory to the formation of the Hawaiian Islands, which were caused by volcanic action. So they were underwater a far long time ago and have emerged over the water. So this thing about climate change and the rising waters around Hawaii is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a
it is
joke.
totally ridiculous.
You guys know who Dan Pena is, right?
Yeah.
You know what he says. If it was happening, they wouldn't sell it to you, and they would have ran for the hills, right?
Well,
But they're over there making hand over fist off the money, and
all the money that comes into Hawaii, they're buying all their homes on the water. So
yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to ask you about that too. So, with where all that happened with direct energy weapon, if that's what they want to say happened, whatever. So I just seen something today to where they're giving the people land back, but they're not allowing them to get the oceanfront property back. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it giving land back, but
well, yeah, not giving, right? But
yeah.
I just heard that and I was like,
Yeah, it's a land grab.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
It's total land grab. I mean, as you know, Lahaina was scheduled to be a 15-minute city, a smart city.
Right.
So, and investigations are still going on to this day. A lot of evidence there's a few sites you can go to and see the ongoing investigations. Of course,
So
our own police chief. Go ahead.
My other question then, so like you're there, right? And you're part of that land's people. Like I'm from Pittsburgh. Like when you're from there, you guys are, it's your family, your friends that are in the government there, right? You know, it kind of goes for all of us across God's land. So my thing is, where are they at? How do you have local government with its own people just completely getting treaded on?
Well, our government really was taken over by the United Nations a long time ago. And I can go back real easily to 2010, where we were actually designated by Obama to be the climate change area, the first one. And I don't live on Maui. That's where the Lahaina fire was. I live on the island of Kauai. But our government is made up of puppets that are selected. We say not elected. We have probably have a fellow now, Ralph Krishna, who's still fighting the election integrity issues here in Hawaii. But we also don't have a law in the books against nepotism. So we have all family members that work in the government, and their cousins and their aunties and uncles are all part of the government. A lot of them don't even really know what's going on. They're just following the leader, if you would, the leaderless leader. And I don't know if you saw our governor recently before Congress trying to defend the pharmaceuticals, and that he's the only governor that's an actual doctor. Well, I personally have nicknamed him Dr. Death for what he did, not only in Lahaina, but during the COVID lockdowns and all that.
And Samoa.
So, and Samoa. Yeah, so people say paradise. I say paradise was overtaken a long time ago. If you live here, I mean, it should be paradise, but there's been so much commercialization. Even our island of Kauai, they're really trying to turn it into the island of Maui, more commercialized. And we're the garden island, and we're the food producer. I call it the food producing island. We should be exporting food, not importing. 90% of our food comes from the mainland in cans. How ridiculous is that? Yeah. Even some of our fruits, papayas and things, come from Chile. So they really make it hard on the locals to survive. They're really trying to force them all out. I call it's really genocide when you look at it, because once the Hawaiian culture is gone, that eliminates any land issues that are under what we call allodial title, which locks them up in the courts. So this is a calculated thing. I call it identity crisis. So when Hawaii became a state back in 1959, they took the Hawaiian language out of the schools. And the Hawaiian people, if they tried to educate their children in the Hawaiian language, they were beaten. And they couldn't, they also took away their natural medicines. So you're taking away, and basically their religion, or their beliefs. So when you take away all that, you strip a culture of its identity, which is really genocide of a culture. So paradise was overtaken a long time ago. We have the biggest climate issues, like I said, NGOs like ICLEI. Now there's another UN group, Malmo, that wants to take over all the farming and all the water. It's really incredible. So people come here. Yeah, you come into paradise. To me, when you land in Hawaii, the first thing you should see is a cultural center of all the Hawaiian natural medicines, everything. But when you land, you see Macy's, or you'll see Starbucks, or whatever. That's mainland. That's not paradise. It's fine to have that, say, in the inner portions, but you're really coming here for the experience of paradise. So paradise has been taken hostage a long time ago, in my opinion.
And the nail in the coffin was COVID, of course, because they killed most of the mom and pop businesses, kept the big box stores open during that shutdown.
That's right. 35% of our small businesses were closed and never recovered.
All right, thank you, McGay. So, Bob in Florida, you're down in the villages, right?
The villages, yes. Good morning.
So what's going on down there?
What's happening here? Well, June 14th, we have a golf cart rally the infamous Villages Golf Cart Rally. We'll have 500 to 1,000 golf carts celebrating Flag Day and Donald Trump's birthday, followed up by a birthday party at City Fire in Brownwood in the Villages. Anybody in the area, know somebody in the area? Welcome to come. Love to have you all out. That's what's happening here.
Did you say June 14th? Did you say
June
the 14th?
June 14th.
That's also the birthday of the United States Army.
That is the birthday of Donald Trump and the birthday Flag Day and
the U.S. Army.
Things.
Yeah.
Yes. June 14th, Saturday.
Okay. Thank you much. Frank, I've been waiting to hear you talk. You were talking when I first came on and didn't hear the whole thing. What's going on with you? You had quite a bit to say before the program started.
That's right. Hey, Rob, thanks a lot. Magaso, just let me hat tip to you because you've basically given a treatise of what has happened. So it's already happened in your beautiful area, but the whole plan is to move that across everywhere else.
Right.
And you know that we're already in the matrix. We're already in this control. So Rob, what I was talking to Ashley about was two things. One I brought up, and I think most of you are aware of this. You probably get it on your different media feeds about the trial up in Appleton, Wisconsin, of which Ascension Hospital is the defendant to Grace Shara. So Grace was the daughter of Scott Shara, and she was murdered by that hospital with the typical COVID hospital protocol. So the Children's Health Defense Group is covering that. So every day, right around, I think it's, 8 or 9 o'clock? Around 9 o'clock Central and goes to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now it's supposed to go out into, it's 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Warner Mendenhall is the lead lawyer covering this. So this case is something very important. Warner, along with David Martin, Mary Talley Bowden, Pierre Corey, Rachel Rodriguez of the Varys Law Group out of Florida, Kevin McKernan, Dr. Lindsay Jancy, I mentioned Corey. We all got together in Oklahoma to cover the hospital protocol and the gene therapy injections at the Oklahoma State Capitol. That was October 17th of last year. That's led to some things that have a connection into this case because the AG, jump in the elections, a new AG came in Oklahoma, AG Drummond. That whole group in Oklahoma, I'm in Kansas, the group led by Mick Rosado and this whole team and JJ Humphreys. JJ is a congressman. He basically got the state to have this kind of COVID interim study, which had all these people. It was pretty well shared, and they had a big impact. We had 120 people that were either family members of people in the hospital conundrum, as well as family members that had kids, 18-year-old, 20-year-olds, killed by the gene therapy shots. It's brought a lot of attention, but Attorney General Drummond has been handed the brief, and he gave a response a couple weeks ago that he's not gonna, he says, I don't have enough evidence to this, which is total BS. The point I'm making is that what's going on up in Appleton is going to be really important to all the affected people so we'll use the word vaccine right now of the COVID shot the people that suffered from it or died from it, and then the ones that have gone through some kind of a protocol in the hospitals with, they didn't let, so there was lack of informed consent. There, even the people with the legal rights of coverage weren't allowed in. You know, all this stuff went on in 2020, 2021 and stuff. So it's important. So that was one thing I talked about. Debbie and I happen to know Scott. We met Scott back in 2022 when he was just bringing this up to the general public at a red pill thing. The other thing that I mentioned, Rob, was that, and I think some people have had the exposure of this, but David Martin brought this up on May 5th with Shannon Joy. So it was an hour and a half show. And David went into detail about what was called the report of the Bipartisan Commission on Biodefense. It was written in April 2024. That group, which is the Bipartisan Commission, you can look it up on Twitter. They have a site. All the information is just right in their own site. They have been involved in drafting what's called the National Blueprint for Biodefense, Immediate Action Needed to Defend Against Biological Threats. They've been doing this since 2014. So what David did was his system went out, found this document, and what it is a kind of what would be, it's called the Countering Bioterrorism and the Next Event 201. So what it is kind of an alert to an Event 201 like scenario that inside the document outlines what if, and the what if is actually just like Event 201, dates, casualties, the virus listed, all the details listed there. And as David said, look, and he's been saying this going back in the early parts of the pandemic, is that our government has had 68 manipulated bioweapon pathogens, just giving it a name, okay, something that's been made up, has nothing to do with nature, but made up just like the coronavirus SARS-2 scenario, if you want to call it that. But they have these on the shelf, okay? So we've already seen stories about monkeypox, H5N1, you get on the list. Shingles, so what's shingles? Shingles is actually sometimes in today's world, these people that have gotten the COVID shots are having symptoms of shingles, which can be led towards monkeypox. The WHO just came out, I don't know, 24 hours, 48 hours ago, talking about the increase in multiple countries with all this stuff. So I put inside the comments list kind of what a recent post that we've all done that brings attention. You can watch David talk about it. You have access to the document itself. I've gone through the document. I've looked at all the people who were on the team, who were the ex officio type researchers and scientists and what they work on, what universities, okay? And you have the Hudson Institute as their lead donor. So David's thing is, and he doesn't, you know, he met, so in 1998, outlined in the book Coup de 12, he met the 12 people as part of a team called the Enterprise, which Peter Thiel was one. His name in the book is Henry Girard. Jeff Jonas is another. His name in the book is Jonas. Dr. Jerry Falwell was another. He's dead. I guess supposedly he was dead. But Jerry was one of the top dudes. Remember, I told you this 3 years ago. David was asked by Peter, by these people in a New York restaurant on top of a hotel outlined in the book to join their team and not provide the 500 million. What was the table, you know, that was the ante to get into the group. So 1998, and then he had interactions weaving through, and in 2006, over in a big London estate, he was asked by the same group again, will you join us to help us? Because we want your technology, we want your remote, we want all these pieces that are unique to you. And again, you come in, we can make you the billionaire, whatever you want. David turned it down. So what's happening today, and you're just starting to see it, this is nothing new to me because I've been sharing what's in the book, Coup de 12, and the characters. This is actually the playbook of today. And who's above the characters? There are other people above those characters, and they come down and they own what they have. When you read the book, you'll see how their tentacles are spread out all over the world. So it's a warning. It's not to get, into a fear condition, but in the document, it says there was a terrorist, we don't know who the terrorist is, that allowed a pathogen in Washington, D.C., and it affected, and then other cities had the same thing. And again, they use the date, July 4th. So David always talks about a rocket-propelled ballistic, where the pathogen is ballistic resistant. He's talked about this for years, that it's one of the 68. It's one of the patents. It's one of the things that's easy to use over stadiums, so that if we use Event 201 as kind of a parallel, I think the general public. So I spent, when David first did this on May 5th, I reached out to all my Kansas, some of the people I knew in the political realm. And as I think, Rob, you've heard before, my next door neighbor is Mike Brown. Mike Brown is in charge of the Republican Commission. Christy Brown is in charge of the Trump campaign. These are friends. I've tried to give them information like we try to give people about, COVID is this. I've tried to give them information about really what's going on in their, basically, in the area of their their baby. Trump is their baby. And it's tough to talk critically about someone else's baby. But if we're all trying to give people an awareness of how this is being played, who's already played it in the past, and by the way, the same people are doing it again. Peter Thiel, and you've seen Palantir all over. This is nothing new to me. I've talked to Ashley about this, and I've said, if you want to get what is happening in today's pandemic date frame, we'll use 2019 until the present. That would be the story of 1998 to 2011. That book was written in 6 days by David, of his account of the interaction of all these people. He wrote it in 6 days, okay? Because he was warning, it came out in digital format and then in softback. He was warning people and letting the perpetrators know that he knew, and he was getting it to people. And that was the Lake Anna nuclear plant that was targeted for a disruption, not to blow it up, but just think of a miniature Chernobyl. Take the grid down, get a little radiation out, have people evacuate. That was designed for, I think, the fall of 2011. Guess what? It never happened. October 2023 never happened because David got the information out there. So look at the stuff I put inside that in the box there. Take put it in your notes. And as I've always said, Ashley's got all my contact information. I work with David Martin. So I help do his workshops, the 12 Senses workshop and some others. So, back when I read the book, I asked him personally, I said, look, dude, I'm 120 pages in the book, got another almost 200 to go. Is the enterprise running the COVID scamdemic? And he goes, 8 of them. Well, then fast forward, I don't know, 2 years. He's like, looks like it's more kind of pointed to a certain person that we've talked about that happens to have an affiliation with a certain company that put out Gotham data tracking in 2019. That was for the surveillance of all of us wearing masks or not wearing masks. Okay. Foundry, which is the software platform of Palantir that was managing Project Warp Speed. So when we get into who's really behind this, it gets worse. And you're seeing, look, Elon was in partnership with Peter Thiel when PayPal incubated. Even with Tesla, there's interactions here and there. And some of Elon's stuff isn't exactly what the general public knows. So they were in cahoots and they kind of fell out. And even Elon's talked about using Palantir. This is a technocracy land grab. You talk about land grabs? No, these guys, they want the whole world. So you just saw Trump just gave another, first it was 500 billion with Larry Ellison, OpenAI, NVIDIA, all these tech, they're awful.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
they're
letting them
awful.
build nuclear plants now.
Oh, look at, fool me once,
Screw
fool
us,
me
it's-
twice. This is where we have to get real with ourselves. Okay. We have really bad Republicans out there, which okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, David said this going back to Alex Azar standing over him when he signed the executive order in September of 2019. That was the kind of the launching pad of Project Warp Speed. So he gave Mr. Trump kind of a pass of, he's just got bad people. He's got criminals giving him criminal advice. But as we fast forward over the years, we go, you know what? For a guy who's been allegedly playing 5D
chess.
I mean, I think that's kind of something that's been thrown out there. I go, he knows. I'll tell you what, this is unfortunate. He has his controllers. Kennedy has his control. As David said in one, he said, look, how would you like to aspire and get through all the monkey business? Come to your office, and on your first day, you see a letter on your desk, and you open that letter up and you go, oh shit. Oh shit. So again, not taking no judgment, but just if we're trying to be real, we have a history of all these false flags. We have a history of, sending biologics over the San Francisco Bay back in this, what was it, the 60s or something like that?
Late 68, 69.
We have a track record that you can go put a pin in that one, put a pin in that one, put a pin. The anthrax thing, as David said, 300 million doses of ciprofloxacin were bought by our military 5 months before the anthrax letters went out.
Yeah.
So this is just looking at the evidence and going, they're up to no good again. Now, if we can put enough of the energy and the exposure out there by just by sending it to various political people about, hey, are you aware? Because most of the stuff today, your list, James Comey, the vaccine topic. Well, let's use just gene therapy. Remember, it's all gene therapy. Travel ban, Harvard, Golden Dome. Who the fuck wants a Golden Dome?
Whoa.
Run by criminals.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about the Golden Dome. The Golden Dome had a big announcement that in Huntsville, Alabama, they were going to have an expo. Okay, it got delayed once, and it just got canceled. Supposed to be there next week. I was supposed to go next week to it. It got canceled the second time. Okay. The Golden Dome is necessary when it relates to hypersonic weapons. Uh, it is uh, a way to protect us from missiles, air, air to land, surface to surface. You know, all these different types of weapons that our adversaries are making. And I gotta just be honest. In some instances, we're not ready. In many, we are. But the Golden Dome, we do have some older technology that needs to be retrofitted, and Golden Dome's the answer. I yield.
And you know, Ashley, we're going to disagree on this, so we'll leave it there. Okay. I don't have to. I don't have
Well,
to
let's
sell.
talk.
I don't have
Let's
to
talk
sell the
offline.
knowledge.
Let's talk offline. Why you don't want to do it?
Why? Look who's behind providing the technology for this. I just gave you. They're the ones running the show.
Are you talking about Peter Thiel?
Peter Thiel and Elon.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
and look at the rest of
I'm
them.
not sure if Elon is really Elon. Okay.
That's right.
And that's fine.
And I think that there is something huge going on in the background, and they're trying to keep it silent. It's really supposed to be silent now, and it's still supposed to remain silent. And I think, I mean, from what I have researched, I think Trump is a real genius. He knows what he's doing. He's playing all these people, and there are things happening.
That's what he wants you to think. That's what everyone's had the patience. Remember, I go back 2 years ago, of things that we were involved legally with 25 AGs around the country, multiple sheriffs. You know what they said? No, we can't get in this right now, but after the elections, we'll get right on it. So look you can have your hopium condition. I'm on here to go, hey, let's be a little bit more, let's look deeper inside this because everything I've said has come true.
So
Frank, along with what you were saying before with David Martin, I think it was 2018, maybe 19, where he submitted a letter asked to the people to deliver to all the attorney generals around the United States, highlighting all the crimes that were being committed at that time.
That was the original Fauci dossier sent out in the end of March, early April 2020.
We delivered it in Hawaii to our chief investigator. So we were ones that did follow through on that, watched it meet a dead end with our attorney generals and all that.
And
it's about domestic terrorism.
Right. And that thing, they evolved into prosecutenow.com. Then that got hit. DNS hit big time.
Mm-hmm.
Up, down. Then they changed servers off the United States called prosecutenow.io. That got hit. They never recovered. All that information you just mentioned was part of that. And also the Ralph Barrick documentation of remdesivir that we were taught. We had given all these AGs and all these sheriffs that document along with the Fauci dossier.
Yeah, it was 205 pages of Fauci dossier.
Right. 27 was the meat, and the rest, 185 Magaso, were all the patents listed in the universities and all the entities. So again, it's tough telling people that, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, so I might as well mention it. I'm inside at David's listening to him talk to a woman. That woman's the largest contributor to the Republican private. So not like Elon, different because he's public about it. This woman, big funder of DeSantis, other Florida activities.
What's her name?
I'm not going to give her name out. Her husband has a lot of
I
car
need donations
dealerships.
for a wrap. Okay.
She's got a lot of, her husband has a lot of car dealerships. But here's what I heard. So I'm listening, going afterwards. I said, who was that? He goes, so and so. I said, so she's involved in these, and you've put a legal brief together. You, Stan, the team, and you've been doing this over 6 or 7 months. She's kind of funding part of this. And he goes, yeah, I gave information that went to Kennedy back in year 1 to go after Pfizer, and he decided not to do it. But here I am, I'm spending all this time working with them. They put the brief together, So this was in late July that I was there. Fast forward to November. So we did the Oklahoma activity. In November, David, at a little local presentation, said, 48 hours ago, I got some bad news. The legal team, Davalier Law Group, sent me their copy of the brief to send out to the AGs, and he read through it. And he said it was so watered down by my own team that I could not present it to the people it was designed to. So it went dead duck. All that effort, all that money, all that work was like a lame duck condition, which ended up, Ivan Ricklin was at the presentation, and I forget the other gentleman's name. And, David says, look, we all have our heroes. We all have the white knight coming in to save the day. We all have hey, just be patient. We have to let enough people die before we actually let the general public know what's going on. So, and this goes back to something that when the shots first came out, there were X amount of people that were dying right off the bat. And so there's no, it's tough when we sell ourselves on a let's be patient while people are lined up and shot every day. Doesn't really sit well with me, but that's okay. If you want that, that's fine. So, and that's why I'm bringing the information up and who's really behind this and who
Real quick,
funded JD Vance. That's been public. That's
we
Peter
know
Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the architect, and if you don't know the character, he's a savant. He is a genius, and he's playing everyone. David would say, he won another one. Here he comes. Because these guys asked the person I work for to be their boss. So this isn't research. This is the guy was getting an offer, and up until a couple of years ago, had communication. There's people in the enterprise. Remember, David knew these people. He has all the dirt on them.
So my question,
yeah.
my question, I'm very familiar with the defense acquisition process, and I'm trying to piece together the intel that you have, where you're saying Peter Thiel is kind of on deck and up in front in the Golden Dome. Help me understand, like, his role in the Golden Dome, because typically the way this would go down is they would have a RFI on SAM.gov, which they did, and companies had to submit their capabilities, and so many were selected to attend this event. Okay, and it really is unfortunate that it got canceled, because this is locating the nation's best of the best when it relates to missile defense. And anyway, the process would be then the companies, there's specific requirements that come from J8 or different branches. Maybe it's Space Force, maybe it's Air Force, maybe it's Navy. Everybody would have their own requirement, or maybe it would be a joint requirement. And then they would post these requirements, say, companies who out there thinks you could do this. If you can do it, here's the rules of how you submit the proposal. And it's really silly. It gets down to the smallest font size is 10. Okay. And you need to use, in some cases, Times New Roman. All right. But anyway, fast forward, these companies would submit, and then people would decide what companies to select for a contract going forward. This is the process. So how does Peter Thiel have a leg in on over the military industrial complex? Over.
Well, what did I say in the very beginning about his presence? So just go on There,
Well,
go
I
listen to
I
listen
apologize.
to
I might
Alex
have been
Karp.
walking my dog, so I apologize. Can you tell me the beginning one more time?
So just go on to some of the Palantir quarterly calls. They
So
list.
this is the
They
company
list.
Palantir you're
So
referencing.
think
Okay,
about
gotcha.
the so-called dome that protects Israel. Palantir is the AI that does it. Palantir sells to all. You can see the list of all the countries they sell to.
So
But what you're
Palantir, is that an Israeli company?
well, is it Israeli? It's run by Israelis.
Can I help you guys for a second?
Yeah.
I'm on speaker. I mean, it's
Okay. So I've said this before, and I know you guys probably don't remember because it was like one of those, monikers or whatever. ISIS equals the CIA. Mossad equals Hamas. Peter Thiel, his background's all in what? CIA. So that means he's ISIS. Then you haven't even mentioned Alex Karp. He's Mossad, which equals Hamas.
Yeah.
That's how you know who's running the show. You haven't even mentioned what's his face. Let me see. Let me get his name out because I wrote him down. His name is Stephen Cohen. So they all represent a certain body or group of people that they have interests with or dealings with, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you know who's running the show.
What's the allegiance of Peter and Elon? Over. Anybody know? Elon and Peter.
I told you they
Peter
worked. They were part of the
He's ISIS.
PayPal gang. And this is all old news, okay? And when you talk about the Navy, the Department, Army, all this stuff, you're talking about the same people that concocted and contracted through ATI all the COVID nonsense. So why you would have any faith in a group like this that's going to come up with spending your money for what you think is this dome? Remember, the United States is the prize possession of the United Nations and everyone else. We're the target. We've been the target since
a long time.
250 years ago.
Yep.
No argument. I'm just
but listen,
because I'm in the industry and I know our weaknesses, okay? And you're right. These programs usually have a lot of money thrown at them, and it's kind of in a sense unfair, to say the least. But the capability, okay, if it really, I mean, I just gotta tell you guys, look,
it's the net that will keep us. So all that
we are losing.
Remember,
we are losing in some cases, guys.
They want to use Elon's funky rockets to take satellites up there and do all this stuff. I mean, talk about a Trojan horse. I mean, I'm kind of like, I thought you kind of read into how this is a big playbook to just keep us pinned in like the human zoo. So if you think that it's the rockets coming over here to blow everything up, and you think that the dome is the thing that's going to protect us, well, number one, how many years is it going to take while they spend all the money before it's perfected? Remember, as Shell was talking about, Alex, Peter, all these people, if you look deeper into some of the board of directors and other people inside that, and then you look at the top shareholders, you get the picture. But, I guess a lot of these people have their jobs because they're just like drug dealers, might as well be arms dealers or AI, the new drug dealer.
Yeah.
So Frank,
that's
So
what
what
we're
do we
talking
do?
about.
I
do
hear
want
all
to
of
say
this, but I
thank
don't hear
you.
what do we do? Nobody. What's the answer to this? Because all I'm hearing is we're overran, and you're just going to take it and shut up, and whatever happens to us, be okay with that, regardless of how severe that may be to you and your family. So my question is, what do we do?
I got an answer. I got an answer to Dave of what we could do. I just want to respond really quickly to our Kansas buddy and let him know that okay, Frank, I appreciate you bringing this up. I'm not arguing that what you're saying is not true. I absolutely, without a doubt, believe the deep states, a network of people, and they all work together against us. There's no doubt. I am not familiar with this Plantier company, but please send me a text offline
You listen.
and let me.
You and I will spend some time just on a video chat or a Zoom.
That's fine.
I'm flabbergasted that you don't have the insight to Palantir. I mean, Palantir has been actually has come up in the mainstream the alt media for a couple months right now.
I gotta be 100% transparent. Your brother of Christ has been through a lot of trials and tribulations with work and her family. There's just been a lot of challenges, but I'll look into it. And to answer Dave's question, what do we do about it? It's very simple. We all stop paying taxes. We literally just stop funding them entirely, and that will stop their stupid money laundering situation because they won't get any money to launder. That really is the easiest solution. And you know what? We need to make the decision. We need to make the decision as Americans. Okay, one. The only thing in life that we really have to do besides pray to the Lord and Savior is die. Everything else is a choice. We choose to pay taxes. Okay. Now, I'm just telling you the easy answer. None of us, we just all stop paying them. They don't deserve the freaking money that we give them because they're not really doing what we want them to do. And we're finding out, as you guys should be discussing soon, Elon and the Doge found all these illegal activities, but I haven't heard 10, 50, 100 people being indicted. Heck, I haven't even heard of one. So we're living in a very controlled system, and it has the identity of fairness and doesn't exist. There is a two justice system, and we're not in the one that you get a workaround and you get a slap on the wrist. Okay, we're the ones that would get thrown in, no fair trial, no fair way of bringing up evidence to say, hey, we're innocent to proven guilty. We've already proven that with January 6th, political prisoners. Okay, and here we are being optimistic about our country when really the shenanigans are still going on right in front of our face, and we still have some of our patriots say, well, what's the saying? Stick to the plan, or trust the plan. Trust the plan. It's coming. Trust the plan. I'm telling you now, okay, we're being played. The uniparties out there, they're
100%.
still not cutting anything that they promised they were going to cut. From day one, the Epstein files are going to get released. Come on. When are you going to stop being played? When are you going to wake up and actually see what life we're actually living in? Okay. And forget pretending on holding on to that false hopeism that is never going to come, because I'm here to tell you, Hillary Clinton, there's plenty of evidence to arrest her today. Please do not argue me with that point. There's plenty of evidence to arrest Fauci. There's plenty of evidence to arrest President Obama for what he did to President Trump. So please stop pretending that everything's going to work out in the end, because today you're being played and you're just not really getting it that you're getting played.
You're out of time now. That's the problem. We're out of time. That's the problem. We need to get so many people, the mass, to wake up, and we're out of time, guys. That's just how I feel. And everything that I just heard from you, Frank, I'm out of time, buddy.
Well, what I find is very scary is this Amplify Bio company that J.D. Vance is involved in. And they're combining that with the mRNA technology. They have rolled that out in France, and now they're doing it in Japan. That they're probably going to make people think, well, we only put a little bit of the mRNA in the shot. And so what happens is when you get it in the body, then the bioamplified takes over and our bodies become a factory. You see? And it's just going to accelerate people to death.
I just want to remind everyone, the real enemy's number one mission is to depopulate.
Yes.
Okay? That's their number one goal.
2030 genocide.
Yeah, and the
Remember
plan
that.
there-
Remember that when the next lottery in your state comes for the next poison to get injected into your body. You guys need to stop following these false things that then there was a 99 point something percent chance that you were going to make it in the end if you caught the stupid thing anyway.
99.7.
So let's be smarter this time around. Thank you, Rob. Let's be smarter the second time around. Let's not just put our arms up like zombies on whatever Fauci or any next clown comes and says that we got to do. Just remember, how many times did they flip-flop? Put the mask on, put the mask off. Wear two masks. They never kept their story straight because they were lying every single time, but yet a big percentage of the population, oh, I better do what they tell us. Where some of us said, what in the heck are they talking about? They don't even know what they're talking about. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to listen to them, and I'm going to protect myself how I feel fit.
Exactly. Yep.
They gave us the dry run, and now we're about to get it.
I agree. And Planetaire is a way
Yeah, the
of
next
getting all
thing,
our
I
information.
always warn, the next thing's serious.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot worse than what COVID was.
And I'm
they
hoping
got to
it's
scare
not
us
July
really
4th.
bad.
Do you remember what Trump said when his first inauguration, when he had the military lined up behind him? He said he was handing the power back to the people. Now, this is a military operation, and there's plenty of evidence to support that. That's not in question. However, if the people are not ready to take their power back, then this narrative is going to keep running on until you got enough people lined up. You have a tipping point with the majority. So obviously we don't lay down and go, oh, we're screwed. I'm sorry, that's not the solution. We have to keep putting the information.
I agree with you.
Our role,
the global consciousness to
our
rise
role
up.
out here is to keep sharing information, to keep waking people up until we can't even, our eyes are just heavy. We just have to keep the course because we are past the tipping point, and I have very firm confidence that we are past the tipping point, but that doesn't mean we stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never stop. I'll never stop.
No, you don't
Not by
stop, and you
nature.
don't give up hope, and you don't do hopium or non-hopium. You don't need to throw that out because if you can get across the board, if you have time to get across the board, and a lot of people don't because they have lives they have to live, they have bills they have to pay. If you can compare, things that are coming out in the mainstream narrative to some of the back channels, and you can see the anomalies there, you can start to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
This is the problem. This is the problem that I want to bring up right now. Going back to Dave's example is we're out of time. Okay, so let me explain. The idea that you're believing in, let's just pretend for a moment that it's a possibility. I'm not saying that it is. Just let me finish. That it's a possibility that the information could be propaganda like North Korea. Let's just say for a moment. All right. Now, this entire time, if Americans knew that the system really wasn't for we the people, it really was to protect the elite, don't you think people like Dave, people like Rob, people like others that are listening to this platform would actually do something about it right now? Forget the matrix that we're living in and the bills that we have to pay. It's about, because all that stuff funds them. We need to start thinking, look, tomorrow, we all know tomorrow's not promised, and time is not Time is our only need to start doing things in parallel to this military control. In the worst case scenario, if the propaganda came out to be true, that it's not real, then we actually have a plan B. I don't like the idea of spreading, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Let's just go on the sidelines and twiddle our thumbs and see what happens. Because you know what? We don't plan for plan B. I yield.
Well, to me, if paradise is lost, you should realize that the states are lost.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why we fight. We expose people in Hawaii.
And who too?
United Nations for one.
We lost it to the United
That's
Nations.
exactly where I was going.
We lost
I was
it to
just
the
waiting for him to say the UN.
we actually lost it to the corporation in 1861.
Yeah.
And then through the
Right.
1871 Organic Act is when it officially was gone. So we have to keep fighting. We have to keep exposing people. We have to name them by names.
Exactly.
We have to call them out by names.
Well, there's in 2017, there were 45,000 people that became state nationals. And now it's like 5 million. So what does that tell you? And they don't pay taxes to the federal government when they become a state national.
Right.
There is a strong movement.
You don't even have to be a national or non-national. If you look on your W-2 form, there are 2 boxes you can check. One should say federal exempt for taxes and one should say state exempt. Go back and take a look at those forms. Because lately you're not forced to do either one. So why are you still paying? Why are you just hit the box, hit the exempt box, hit the state exempt box. That's all you have to do. Divest. That's a huge option right there.
We need Mike on here tonight, but he's not on.
I've seen it myself. I've seen it on the forums myself. They do exist.
They do.
So yeah.
I do want to emphasize. I have a case of.
Oh, Frank, let me ask you this one question. You've shown us how we've gotten here, what they've been planning, and what they're going to plan. But where does it lead to? What is their final goal?
Well, that's tough to be like a black, but so we understand the population reduction activity. Got it. All right. But as Rob is indicating, so the things to do, and this goes back to what and I do. We help David and Kim on their 12 senses workshops, 4.5 days. So we as humans have 12 cranial nerves hardwired into our head. Over the last 5,000 years, they've been reduced, and you were sold the story by Aristotle and the education system that you had 5 senses. So what happened to the other 7? What happened to the other 7? Most people don't even know what they are, what they're for. So what we've been doing is helping people identify the story behind them, what they are. Are they designed for you as an individual, or are they also designed for the benefit of your community, your fellow humans? That in itself. So one thing, if we're, and David's mentioned this on many occasions, general population across the board's operating right around 2.7 to 3 senses. As you know, AI wants to take you to 2 senses. And this has been going on for a long time. When we enhance the capability of people's sensories, okay, when we reactivate, we actually get to see things, multiple lenses, see things like how to look at some people and actually watch them in the way their glossopharyngeal nerve is acting. Is it flush? Is it tight? Most people, when that happens, there's a certain line characteristic in that. Okay. So the reason I tie this in is that we need, as humans, to enhance our capability. There are cultures that used to build things that are monolithic, and they did it through frequency. Okay. We think that we're
Seeing light.
advanced. Huh?
frequency and light.
Yeah, yeah. So all those things that you think are like the pyramids and all these big rock structures, things, that was all done in that. David has a company that uses a technology that actually does that. Okay. So it's not a kind of theoretical scenario, and it has nothing to do with thermodynamics. Just look up RASA.energy. That's the company that is doing this. So what in terms of preparation, I mean, all of us on here, we have food to get us by for X number of weeks or whatever. We have things that if the grid goes down, how to operate as best as we can. So we have that. We have community people that we have friends nearby or where we can get to for support. Okay. We know how to take water and purify that. Okay. So there's that aspect. We have some hard times coming, so we're gonna have to do better. Right now, or, right now, I think as David has indicated, and on previous shows I've been on, the system built in 1930 was designed to kind of expire right around 2028-ish with Social Security, CMS, Medicare, Medicaid, all that. So that was done by design by the agencies back in the 1930s. So it's coming up to a disruption. Back to what many people have said is that we continue to have a financial system based on that. Look at the medical system. All kinds of companies are coming up to operate outside the current medical system. People are doing things in our community just to help orient other people to when the lights go out. Okay. So there are things going that way. Is our system that resides in Washington, D.C., it's potential that it is gonna kind of eat itself up. It's
Yep.
gonna have, like the wobble effect, where something happens inside of it, then it just spins down on its side, and then we have to kind of pick up the crumbs. We're gonna go through a lot of people who unfortunately did take the gene therapy, those who haven't passed away, those have been, some have gotten like, hey, it didn't really affect me. I'm watching people I know that it's catching up to them right now. They want to, it is, but when that ramps up, it's going to be tough because we may have more dead people to deal with than we actually expected or wanted.
I
And so,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, that
it's
we know
possible.
of.
Hey, look at it's possible. So
Is this what, or was
um,
that just a story that we were fed? Or
you mean about the amount of people that got kind of hit by what was called the
yeah,
coronavirus bioweapon?
Yeah, with all the older people in North.
Yeah, well, that's a funny story because in the areas that had high incidences, a lot of them wore masks right away. You had the fear factor come in. You had testing. Guess what? Our own CDC put out in April of 2020 defective tests that went out all across the country. Inside those tests, okay, allegedly was some level of the bioweapon. So if people were testing a lot, they're more exposed to something that actually caused the inflammation in the lungs or something of that nature that took them to the hospital.
You're talking about the PCR tests, right?
Right.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
called microneedling.
right.
They use the microneedling technology.
Yeah, so you have things that ramped up and made the cases are up cases. Remember, it wasn't if I got sick and I tested on Monday positive and I tested on Wednesday positive, that's not just Frank Prieb as one case, that's two cases. That's how they were doing the math on this. So when employees were doing this constant change and they're always getting sick, there's a relationship in that. Now, did Italy have some things? So here's the other thing that's kind of awkward. Because the patents on the so-called Ralph Barrick, Tony Fauci, and whomever thing that they released on that patent, it was called defective, defective, where I get it, I'm not going to transfer it to Debbie. Now, if Debbie's like, oh my God, you have it in fear, she may, by the transmission of a frequency of fear and something, she may have symptoms that, well, her breathing is reduced, or she's feeling this way. Guess where that leads her? If we can't solve it through various things that we all know about today, then where does she go? She goes to the hospital. Guess what? Now the hospital protocol kicks in. So I don't know in Italy what hospital protocol they had, Dave. So it's possible that was also something going on there.
So excuse me for a minute.
Yeah.
So you mean you're trying to say that, when you got sick, okay, it probably, it obviously was just a cold or flu, and your mind took over with the fear that you might die from whatever sniffle you had, because they put that in us on television. Then you would start going into a panic attack and not be able to breathe. And then, is that what you're saying is what was happening?
That's what happened in New York. That was the
Because
most
that
publicized.
happened to my son.
Yeah.
The baby was born. They both came home. They both tested positive, and he got quarantined because he was worse than her, and he couldn't breathe a lot of the time. He ended up running out. As soon as it was finished, he ran out and got a third shot.
And that's there are so many stories like that, and that's why as you've watched, and Mary Talley Bowden wrote a letter as recent as today with about 9 different kind of resources, individuals that have some level of understanding here, to Kennedy about as a whole list of what needs to be done to end the mRNA, to end the shot, all that stuff. That I think was announced today. So that kind of jumps around from the question about high incidences in Italy, which there were a high number. There were a high number in some other European areas. And again, I mentioned New York City was kind of a hotbed of propaganda, and the majority, there were nurses. Some of those nurses watched what was going on. Some of the nurses that were there to watch, how is this happening? And they were saying that people were coming in with no symptoms. They were in panic mode, and they were put in quote unquote COVID wards.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have a whole bunch of stuff going on. Those were early innings and sending the message across the media transom, which people did get. People that didn't know any better, or even if they did, that element of fear can be a tough one for some people.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
How they induct the agenda.
Well, in New
Mind
York,
over body.
my daughter-in-law is assistant director of the MRI department at NYU. And, I got to wonder, what are they saying in the hospitals now? I really do, because this infectious disease physician that I knew for years at the University of Pennsylvania, his son got like 5 of them, right? And I try to tell Chad, this is dangerous. He says, oh, my dad's an expert. I'm only going to listen to my father, right?
Yeah.
Now he says, I send him podcasts to try to open him up to the reality. And he says, oh, Dad just says that everybody is trying to take down the medical community now and discredit us and make us look bad. Don't listen to any of that propaganda. This is what they're saying.
Yeah, and guess what? That is a real thing. So remember, in most cases, most murderers will never, ever admit to the reality at hand. And so that is a real thing. Okay. It goes on, and you have people, you have a low percentage of people who did have connected the dots, and even parents who are like, oh my gosh, death sentence to my kids by recommending that they get it. Some of these people they're at their wits' ends. If they've realized, because they've gotten sick, that they recommend it to loved ones, now they're in the position of, it's a very, very
Horrible.
horrible. Yeah, it's a horrible
Horrible.
position. So,
Well,
but
you
there
may-
are people who double down on deny, deny, deny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
You know, the
you
problem with
mentioned
that
you
is
mentioned
too,
me
is the
maybe
school
at the
system.
tipping point of a lot of people dying right now. We had that cycle, say 5 years.
Yeah.
So if we had a large population of deaths right now, it's an opportunity for the government to say, this must be another pandemic.
Another
And
pandemic.
to reintroduce another
Yes,
vaccine at
that's
that
it.
point, using the
And
deaths
that's
that
what
were
they're getting
caused.
ready to do.
And that's why a lot of the people on the front lines are trying to get in front. And even though they know that Kennedy has been weakened by, we don't know the exact source, but they're going to do their best to help counter the this whole concept of, well, we have to do more research. Well, as Mary and the whole team says, we have thousands of pieces of information that says these should be eliminated. The other thing that should be eliminated that was given EU authorization was CRISPR. They gave EU authorization to Sherlock Sciences. That is a firm that Dustin Moskovitz, Mark Zuckerberg's partner in Facebook,
Right.
started funding years ago. And guess what? Sherlock was bought out by a bigger biotech firm in November. So, and David's mentioned this way back in the going, mRNA is the drug that will bring around the solution for the next version, clipping genes as a solution to fix what the RMA caused. And that's so this is already starting to kind of make its way in there. So people, and I mentioned Mary Talley Bowden is one who's
Oh,
driving
yes, she's
a
amazing.
process. She's driving a process that has a lot of good people behind it. And I think it's a counter lever. And the other people are like, we expected Kennedy and his assigned people to be doing what right now. Like I said, this Grace Shara trial that has about 4 weeks to go.
Yeah.
We may go up Thursday, go up Wednesday, be there for Thursday, and then drive. So we, put our feet in this condition that's being, going through a legal pursuit. We listened today, and I listened to part of it, was that an expert medical did a whole informational download on blood pH and all that. Basically, where it's going is to say, wait a minute, gave her more of, and kept this concatenation going, actually should have stopped. So they're building a case of no, what you gave her, and you're listing reasons, or is that application. So that was part of today's discussion in the trial. We hope, and again, you can just go on to the Children's Health Defense. They're doing the video activity that is up there, with his team, and they have already planned to do a documentary type thing once the trial's over. They don't know what's going to happen, but they're building up a war chest of information to come out. And Mickey's really good at this in bringing that to the public hemisphere.
You want to know what's so disappointing about all this? That our kids, my kids especially, because it was the heightened part of COVID, my son, my daughters are in high school, junior, senior years,
Right.
football, cheerleading. They were, our school, we're still a very close-knit community here. A lot of us are born and raised here, so we have that pride. It's Aliquippa, it's Pittsburgh, like it's just a football town. So we're very embedded in that. And they tried using the kids that you're not going to be able to play sports unless you get the vaccine.
Right.
Right.
So you just
Oh my God.
Was
Oh
not
yeah,
sure
no, I
why
saw.
they did that.
Yeah, I
This
saw that here with sports going on. Guys I play hockey with, I play twice a week. There's only about 4 of us, maybe, well, hockey with, I play twice a week. There's only about 4 of us, maybe, well, depends on which team that didn't. And we, I warned all the people about it, and they were pissed at me. They, remember, I went up against my own teammates to share with them because I had the goods on the information. But again, they were my, and then they talked about their kids and then grandparents.
Seeing the grandkids.
Yeah.
I love that one.
yeah.
Well, when that comes up,
We have exemption forms,
Yeah.
redamericafirst.com.
Yeah.
Our organization will help. There's religious exemptions that exist, so don't put your children through that crazy madness. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Yeah, for
here's
sure.
what,
Not in
if we
Hawaii.
actually had a system underneath HHS that was worth anything,
We
we
don't.
would.
We
Well,
don't.
I know. Well,
I know.
but many people thought, and I go back to some discussions because I felt okay, Bobby is kind of in this thing. But the other thing I knew is that when we look at integrity, remember I said David gave a whole bunch of information to Bobby's group on Pfizer way in the beginning. And it was kind of a point where David had a window that he wanted Bobby's organization to go at or go through. They didn't. The other thing is Bobby's first book that came out about Fauci was 3/4 information from David and a bunch from Judy Mikovits. They didn't get much. They got one sentence in the back cover of the book and the contract that was put together for, hey, information services. That was not handled very well. So that gets into, well, really, what is the integrity of people trying to do good if they're not treating the people giving them the information in the way that they contractually work together? So there's this disconnect, and a lot of people were like, "Oh no, that must a mistake." The guy I work with doesn't bring that up, and he doesn't walk away from being on the let's go on the Clay Clark thing. He did it twice. Yeah, twice. Then after that, he's like, I can't get up on the stage with these people because there's it ain't working in the way that it's not parallel to the direction that I'm going.
Mhm.
And that was way back. So that was a learning experience for me to understand, okay, even the people that are trying to expose the evil, whether it's from this position or that position, maybe we don't know them well enough to understand what their motives are or what they're hiding. It's tough. It's really tough. And we're learning right now. We are in the learning seat, as Ashley said, that we have forces that we may not have considered, that there are other forces around them that are putting the pressure so that we can't rely on them. So guess what? We have to rely on our interaction with each other and ourselves.
So I have a question for Dave. Did your son, was it, get vaccinated to play football?
Negative. I
Okay.
would not
Oh.
let that happen.
And
Oh,
did,
good.
Would
did,
not.
did, the,
And
did the Pittsburgh Steelers get vaccinated?
Oh yeah, they did.
I'm 95% certain, yeah.
So,
Because you weren't, it was to the point to where they were trying to enforce. I actually have a vaccination card. We're not going to speak about this, how I got it, but
I have something in my wallet,
Hey,
but it
printers
was
work well,
it's like
guys. There's
it's
still
like a
printers
fake
out there.
driver's license.
well, I mean,
Dave,
Pittsburgh's built off of football, and they were trying to enforce you had to have the vax card to be able to go to a game.
okay.
If you know anything about Pittsburgh, if you buy season tickets, you're paying $20, $30, $40,000, if
That's
not
my
more.
son got
Yep.
them all. He has the season
Yep.
tickets for the Phillies and the Eagles.
Yeah, so
So,
and like I said, for me, where I come from, Aliquippa, Tony Dorsett, Mike Dicka, I mean, I could sit here and rattle off countless guys that are coming from here, currently coming from here too. Kids that are in Pitt, so many of those kids were my kids. My son, they went to state championships 3 years in a row and won Whippeals, which is what is played at Heinz Field at that time. I'm so big on, I'm anti-vax, but as big as I am, my daughters, they took the vaccine. I do not agree with it. I'm not happy with it. They did what they felt they needed to do.
Yeah,
I kind of mentally prepare myself for that time to come.
How old
As bad as that sounds.
How old are
So
your
just-
daughters?
24 and 25.
So just so you know, Dave, Title 21 of the U.S. Code, Section 50, paragraphs 23 to 24, it's illegal to make anyone participate in an experimental program using coercion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And that would lead you right to crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
So,
TikTok. Nothing's been going on. We've been waiting for accountability.
And
I mean, come on.
that is
This is
where
going back to what this goes back to
bringing
my
lawsuits?
frustration.
accountability of time is of the essence. You forced this on my kids.
Oh my God.
If 2030 is truly what we're just going to say it is what it is. And we know that depopulation is what they want. I don't need anybody else to confirm what you did to my kids.
I feel your
Everyone can
pain.
print their own
So
copy of the
just-
federal regulation code and carry it around and wave it in anyone's face who gives them any trouble. And Dr. David Martin did a whole part on that and said,
That's
ask
what he's
people.
talking about.
That's a very good suggestion. Thank you.
So just like Ashley said,
I'm really glad that there's cases.
Don't pay taxes. It also we should all be taking cases to the court.
Yeah.
Because they can't handle it all. And then that's the people standing up.
But
That's
they
the
did this
people
to so
rising up.
many kids.
There you go.
And here's another thing. I'll let you guys know a little bit of a back part that you guys don't kind of know yet. And Frank probably does. And honestly, Frank, I don't really know how you're sitting here on this camera, man, with all the information that you have. I'm behind you 100%, brother.
Hey, so and Dave, I appreciate that, and I go through this with quite a few. It's like, David's dealt with this for 40 years. I've been doing some stuff that inwardly kind of helps. It's like self-protection. All right. So I look at the information that I come across or the association with people who, got duped. All right. and I understand it's really tough. And being in we'll just call it kind of the health and help people better, we've been exposed to a lot of doctors who know things to use to help people get through some of the stuff that the mRNA has done, or whether it's the cerididine that's in the shots or the lipid nanoparticles itself, that were the pieces that supposedly carried the mRNA part of this, or the spike protein, if you want to call it. I, on certain things like Grace Shara, because I know Scott, and then Rebecca Charles, who her daughter went through the same hospital thing. I know those people, and I've had discussions with them, and like anyone that has a loved one in that, I mean, these are really tough things. David Martin has a daughter and a son-in-law who's taken the shots because they listen to their mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this isn't this is everybody. Debbie, my partner, has a state trooper in Virginia who took the shots because he thought he's doing fine, but we don't know how long fine is. The other one who went into the military, he had gotten the shots beforehand because his wife works for an offshoot, a related agency that has dotted lines into the World Health Organization, and she does third world things for women. And her perspective is she'll take anything that the WHO or the CDC recommends. So right in our family line, I have my kids are fine, all right, but I've got a brother, his wife, his kids. Now they've gotten through, but again, how long? I don't know. So I think we did okay. And then we know people, loved ones, and like yourself, I'm just devastated that having daughters to go through this, because you're going, when it's going to hit, what's going to happen, what's going to develop. So
yeah, it just creates more fear for us.
Well, yeah, no, it does. And we talked about this earlier about pathogenicity coming up with other things, but because various symptoms, like I asked David, and he was asked publicly, he says, what about all the variants that came out? He goes, there are no variants. There's not a variant. These are all made up. The names are all made up. So there are no variants.
I think it's the shedding. They're putting it in the shots, and that it's shedding on people, making them sick. That's the variant.
There are symptoms that are coming up, and then guess what? The medical industry can call it something. Look at monkeypox.
Oh, to make people think that they're dying from something.
Yeah.
The shots.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, right now we're getting information from the WHO that in the Congo and other South, in Africa, there's multiple countries inside of Africa that are having X amount of mpox cases a day. Then there's other places that are having symptoms of what they call mpox. They've already said how many vaccines have gone into this place, how many vaccines have gone there, the ones for mpox. What that means is they'll be increasing the level of the possibility of those symptoms coming out. And then, like you said, is shedding part of that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
We've had kids just drop on a football field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
and that's what I mean by how doesn't, and that made media here in Pittsburgh. So, but how does something like that not grab national attention? But all these little other things do,
because the media is controlled opposition.
Yeah.
There are so many accounts. Edward Dow did a deep dive into the accounts back 2 years ago and died suddenly, which is or unexpected. What is it? There's two of them that are pretty big followers on.
Died suddenly was definitely one.
Yeah, and so the numbers are there, the evidence is there, and we just have people that were selected or elected, whatever way you want to, that are turning a blind eye to the reality.
I
Well,
can tell you this 100%, 110%. I've
Yeah.
coached these kids for 20, little over 20 years, brought them from 5 years old all the way up to 18 years old, graduating high school, winning state championships. There's a blueprint to the way these kids need to be raised. I see it. I got it. I maybe took a left turn along the way to learn these things, but I did. But I seen our kids who are unvaccinated, my son and his group, and because we are from here and we are so stubborn and just in our roots here in Beaver County.
Hoopies.
Yeah, yeah, we're hoopies. We're hoopies. So, but then there's the other side of Pittsburgh too, that we're very indoctrinated in inner city, and they've basically forced those vax shots, you
Yeah.
know. And when you look at it, and I kind of feel like this is where I say, why am I doing what I'm doing now? I feel like God kind of put me in certain situations that really expose these things. And here's why, because right now, like I said, my son didn't do it. He's good, has no issues, right? And this is all in that time period. Come game time, our kid, actually the quarterback who just graduated from Harvard right now, within the last couple days, played in the state championship game with COVID, unvaxxed. Other kids throughout that season had just collapsed on the field. And these are proven. They were in our
Wow.
news. They were in our news media.
Did he take the PCR test to prove he had it?
Those kids were vaxxed.
Okay.
All the way that it goes. Now, I want you guys to just we're going to take 2 steps. There's 2 more steps to this sequence. You have your college right now, and they're kind of almost a little bit jammed up when it comes to sports. And it's because a lot of kids took the red shirts and everything else to buy themselves time to position themselves better for scholarships, because COVID really jammed them up to where they lost time, right?
Right.
You guys understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you're taking like 4 years worth of kids and you're condensing them into 2. So a lot of kids were really going to get screwed out if they couldn't figure out how to maneuver through this. These kids are just now coming to light. Some of those kids at that time are in the NFL now, and you watched one of them drop on the field in the NFL,
Wow.
and he was vaxxed, and
Oh, God.
he came from here.
Oh.
So yeah,
Was that the
it's
guy
just
in
crazy to
Buffalo?
me that all of this, it all circulates around this and all that going on. But nobody at that time when this was happening, and they're forcing that into all our kids and everything else. Nobody was like, hey, what the hell's going on? They hit it. They literally hit it. And then they're over here paying UPMC colleagues $15,000 to take these people in. You know anything about that, Frank?
When you said the UMPC?
Yeah, so our real big hospital for Pittsburgh, PA is
Yes.
UPMC.
Okay.
Okay. UPMC and these local hospitals here they're getting so much in a kickback.
Oh yeah. No.
Right?
Yeah, it's 15.
So they're being paid to keep this hush hush, basically.
Right.
And our kids are over here, they're dropping.
Yeah. So again, you can watch this Grace Shara case, which is it is the case of the hospital protocol, and the hideousness of what they did is just beyond. But it's happened quite a bit. That's why my activity in Oklahoma with multiple families, this whole group has got layers and layers and layers, and they're trying to get the AG to do this investigation. He doesn't want to do it. So
Well, Mike,
when
did
you
he get
go to
the shot? Did he get the shots?
did who get the shots?
Your AG.
Oh, did Drummond?
Yeah.
He's not my AG, but you know what? It's quite possible because most of the group that I'm involved in, they looked at who in the political sphere, took shots, and I'm going to say Drummond probably did.
How about his family, his kids?
Probably that too.
Yeah.
And I met a senator when this was, and I was with David. We had a meeting in Washington D.C. as a senator from Utah, who, David went down the medical description of what really went on, and you could see the senator's eyes glaze. And he said, my wife, we took the shots, and my wife's not doing good. This was 2.5, 3 years ago. So there are, so the population that thought it was the right thing got coerced, whatever that, and as John outlined, where the athletic structures were using it as a carrot to maintain their activities going on. That was extra pressure, and so there's, like, John, thank goodness that you had the fortitude you did to go, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right. And you did everything in your power to protect. I understand about the daughter, because sometimes, again, our next door neighbors, their son in college, they said, you're an adult. You make your own decision. We don't recommend it, but you're an adult. And I listened to that when I talked to Christy, because it's her son. And I'm like, I think I would have been a little bit more energetic on the not doing it. But
Yeah, they're just kids.
I know. So, but I don't think that they really understood the magnitude of what this patented device was and the architecture behind it. So,
Yeah.
Okay,
They were forced
guys,
to
I
make
think
them
we
die
pretty
as
much
vaccines
killed the
to
subject
go to
here.
school.
Let's move on to another subject.
Good idea.
Comey. How about let's talk about him for a few minutes? Anybody have
Yes,
anything to say?
Valerie has a good topic to bring up, and Shell will have the data behind it. So, Valerie, please
It's just
educate people about this topic.
it's kind of more leaning to the right, but I was reading.
Far right.
Okay, the far right. But it goes back to the Q plan, and they kind of deciphered some numbers, and it just it led to the date that 884. Wait, it's like 8670. Wait, I can't even 47. 8647. Yes, that. Yeah, it breaks it down, and I had my notes, but I'm outside here with Ashley. But anyway, basically, if you take the numbers, it adds up to a date of like August 17th, and then that was David Koresh from the Waco Mount Carmel thing back in the 90s or whatever. David Koresh and Waco, and how it ties to the Clinton Foundation and Hillary and all that. So it's kind of like could possibly be a date, for a first arrest. I don't know. Just wanted to bring it up. I don't know if Shell, you have anything on that one.
That's when Janet Reno was the Attorney General.
Yeah. Oh, is it 8,400?
Yeah,
8,647 days since Koresh. Was that it?
Yeah, they're saying that the Waco thing was actually a sting operation for child trafficking and stuff like this, and that it ties to the Clinton Foundation. It wasn't that this guy was crazy and killed all these people. It was actually like a military operation.
Yeah, they were protecting.
So that's
children.
kind of, so I thought that was kind of an interesting drop that I read the other day.
You guys want to know something crazy? So
Yeah.
I have my iPad here, and when this was all happening, I was running numbers like gematria and through Chat GPT.
Yeah.
One of the things that it threw back to me was, I believe that it was the 8,400, whatever the number is, right?
8,647.
Believe it took you directly from that day in that many days directly back to September 11th.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you knew anything about that. There was that correlation. I came up with that through Chat GPT.
Oh,
I
cool.
basically was using it. I asked it different things. There's an aspect where you can break through the conspiracy aspect of it. You just got to talk to it.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I was using it to like just see the different, because I'm a Q guy, and
Yeah.
there's answers out there, you know. So if you want to take something, if you look into things, I don't know, take a look into that, you know.
Yeah. Thank you
But
for the information.
yeah,
We did know that was the
okay.
allegedly that's the backup plan they said.
But they say that goes back to the Italians too. I come from an Italian family. You know, they say that that's like the kill shot, right? Yeah.
So let's talk about this terrorist attack. Well, what data do we know about the terrorist attack? Magaso, Rob, anybody? How about Shell? What do we know about that, and what topic are you going to bring up tonight? Thank you.
Tell me about the terrorist attack. I don't know. I'll yield.
The firebombing of the Jewish group out in Colorado, I believe
Boulder.
it was.
Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that, unfortunately.
All we know is he was from Egypt, I believe. Originally, his visa had run out, and he threw a Molotov cocktail into a crowd of peaceful protesters. It
They
set
were
a lot of them.
mostly elderly.
I have the video.
Yeah,
I have
all elderly.
the video.
Yes,
Here we go. I'm going to
setting
share
them
it.
on fire.
I know, up to the age of 88.
Yeah. But now, I guess they're going to throw out his family as well, but real punishment. It kind of goes back to Washington D.C. when the guy shot the two Israelis outside of the, help for Gaza. Shot the woman and man, and then screamed "Free Palestine."
There was a delay before he did that, like it was a setup. You know, when they handcuffed him and when he left the room, it was like they were waiting for the cameras to be on, and then he yelled it out.
Yeah. It's propaganda for you.
Yep.
And remember what Putin said to Tucker Carlson concerning America and propaganda. We are the masters of it.
Yep.
I'm still a little confused about the fact that that disclosure statement said it right there. It was an experimental drug for both Pfizer and Moderna. And I just don't get the doctors didn't read it.
Both good
and
friends with
question
Elon
it.
Musk.
Huh?
They were getting paid too much money for a COVID death or a COVID positive test.
I guess I just
It's all money.
You know,
I just can't.
all of these. I get reality is.
You know, the recent.
Where's
Did you find it, Ashley? Oh. Greta, do you know how to swim?
Men?
On a sailboat now.
Tonight we Tailandia este elefante que sería.
If HR. Just a quick.
My fucking birthday, bitch.
Enforcement learned that Park spent approximately 2 weeks.
I believe that.
By.
Okay, so.
I refuse.
Okay.
Why do you
Ashley, you post a lot of stuff.
Yeah, really.
You're gonna have to queue it up ahead of time.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we are standing.
There we
That's
go.
him.
Yeah.
We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing. We can. Not here. You have to answer this. Not here, bro. You're not.
People taking video right now.
He was wearing an orange suit with like something on his back.
Spraying alcohol.
Spraying alcohol, but what he did was he made it look like he was here.
He's making Molotov cocktails. Well, we can't do it when he's got Molotov cocktails on. If you are fighting, you have.
Can you get it to run, Ashley?
Well,
You guys hear me? Did you not get? Did you guys not see it?
Not
It
the
was-
video. We just saw
It was
still
really
pictures.
broken up.
Yeah, it was in stills, so you weren't getting a fluid video. It was just in stills, one still after the other, kind of. So,
That's
and the
because we
voice
got
was
terrible bandwidth in the area that we're at. But in any event, illegal immigration was a distraction from us to see the real corruption going on. Because now, what's going to be able to happen? Every week, there's going to be illegal activity from. I mean, some illegal immigrant attacking, creating havoc like this once a week, once every other week. So the news cycle keeps going on terror, 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 keeping us away from the corruption. I yield.
It's before Congress now that the Muslim Brotherhood be named a terrorist group. It hasn't passed yet, but that's the next group.
Now, it seems like, they create a problem and then they offer the solution. We have to be very careful what they offer to solve the terror that's going to happen throughout the United States in the coming. We have to be very careful what they offer to solve the terror that's going to happen throughout the United States in the coming months. Just like the Patriot Act.
Yeah, right.
How easy do we sell our souls for that one?
Right. They might just do something just to make us all get under the Palantir, or is that how you say it? And then get vaccinated with that new amplified,
Yeah.
Well, if we don't stop the terrorism, we would be like Europe. And
Yeah.
we can't allow that to happen in the United States.
No, we have rights. But they want to know
Well-
whether we have guns or not. I mean, they have a database for that. And people have rifles. They hunt, right?
Yeah.
Those aren't registered.
Well, no more than 20 years
Excuse
ago,
me.
if you did something like that in Colorado, you could have been gunned down within a matter of minutes. The guy was running around. He's alive. Why? That's what I don't understand.
No. And you go to a primary care now, they ask, do you have any guns at home? God. Jeez, huh? When
Yeah.
did that ever become part of their questionnaire, huh?
No, they
Wait,
ask a
asking
lot
that?
of questions that they shouldn't.
That's none of their business. Of course, you never tell them everything.
Wait, but how many people you think probably answered that question? Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure honest people. I mean, there's times to, you don't, lying is not a thing, okay? Because it hurts God, Jesus. But sometimes, for your own safety.
Well, you don't want
Yeah,
to tell
when
them
it's
don't. Or
You
they'll
want
get
what?
wanted.
What?
You know how I would answer that question? I'd be like, it's none of your business.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Privacy Act.
Well,
You're
I
just a
don't.
target if
They
you're not
don't.
armed.
Yeah.
And you know what? We could talk about the Privacy Act all day long, but the Fourth Amendment isn't really protecting us like it's supposed to.
Not at all.
Well, that begins where the people come in. If you're going to allow them to do things and not question it, that's implied consent, tacit agreements. You got to stand up for your rights.
Well, we know what happened since 9/11, right? You know what I'm talking about, McGay.
Yeah, I know, but that's why we got to stand
You know
up.
what?
Yeah.
So the Patriot Act was created, wink, wink, because of terror, and then it's going to allow the government to look at our phones and the internet, our email.
Yeah.
And here we are, 2025. We have no privacy. Now Ring doorbells, now street lights, now
I know.
businesses worried about, hoodlums coming in and breaking in their so there's cameras everywhere. We're gonna be in a police state in a snap of a finger, like Thanos. He's just gonna go boom, and we're in a.
Yep. That's why you can't
True,
sit
but
down. That's
that
why you
woman,
got to stand up.
Especially when you add AI.
that
If
woman
you live in Pennsylvania, you're already in it.
who's part of the Federal China, organization, she said we're getting close to 50% with the CCP. She said it's slow getting to 50% control. Once you hit that mark, it escalates fast. So we really have to push harder now.
And once they bring AI into it, they'll be a lot faster than that even.
Here's a data statistic I want to share with everybody. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we were all fired up to get Trump in the office. Now Trump's in the office, and our Republican quadfecta that we have. So the Supreme Court's been lousy. Come on, that's a joke.
Yeah.
And then, yes, Trump is releasing a lot of executive orders, but what is Congress and Senate doing? Absolutely nothing. And they're adding more to the deficit when we're supposed to get our country turned around. We're really putting our foots in our mouths. And I got to remind everybody, we're getting played by the uniparty.
Speak up. If you're going to sit and be quiet, it's your own demise.
It is a frightening thought to think we've been fooled.
Nobody's quiet on this platform. Every week, we're raising hell. Every week.
Yeah. And our names are going to be on the list too.
Already are, Rob.
Been on there for a long time.
That's right. Welcome to the club, huh?
No.
The messed up part is,
Fear, man.
if you're a
Everybody has a
veteran,
hill to
they
die
made
on,
you
Christ.
this way. That's the messed up part. If you're a vet, they made you this way. They
One thing I
made
do
you
know.
patriotic. They made you want to defend and be the alpha and the apex for your family. It was, everybody got sold a pipe dream.
Well, I don't
Dave, what branch were you?
Army. I was a combat engineer.
Oh, okay. Were you ever attached to an ASOC? I went with the first Cav to Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan while I was controlling some Global Hawk payloads.
No, I was over in it was right at the end of like Bosnia when the Blackhawks came out. I built the testing range over in Germany for them.
Wow.
When they first brought the tanks online with the connection to the Blackhawk. And they were basically, our test range was like, I mean, you're talking hundreds of miles in Germany. the Blackhawks would go out, basically pick up their target, and the tanks a couple 100 miles away just fire off, and precise as shit. Hit it every time.
Did you ever have to go to Fort Hood?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Did you ever have to go to Fort Hood?
Fort Hood? Yeah, I was at Fort Hood.
CTSF?
No, I was there for 2 weeks. It was, honestly, I was just there for a pit stop.
Well, they just
moving on.
disbanded that whole organization last week.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service, Dave. I was a data link guy, expert, and I kind of miss it sometimes. But anyway, let's move on. Rob, what's the next topic?
Oh, I don't know. My brain's shutting down here. A lot of information tonight. It's kind of hard to digest everything.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't talked about the Elon Trump feud. Somebody?
Oh.
You know, I see Elon's point. You know, we are on the knife's edge of just going belly up. But yet also you got to think that Elon is looking at going, oh, my subsidies are being cut. Yeah, I'd be a little bit piffed too. But, you know, how much have they really cut from the budget if it's going up? And then they want to throw tax breaks on top of it? Ugh. Want to tax our children more.
I mean, Lon's saying it's not for the best interest of the people. I mean, he's actually saying that.
Do we trust any of them?
I know, you got to wonder.
I think it's a great way to expose everything that's going on. And the last bomb he dropped about Trump being on the Epstein files, all of a sudden you got the Democrats screaming, "Release the files! Release the files!"
That's right.
Once again, he's
It's
their
a great
hero.
5D chess play. Yeah, you gotta
But then
say, you
Elon
know,
throws that out too, though,
it's all
like that,
theater.
calling Trump out, saying that he's been there.
Yeah.
I mean, we all knew he was there once, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're all in that agreement.
I know, but he wants to know his enemies.
How many times was he there then? Is that
We
what
don't
Elon's trying to
Well,
say?
apparently he was there 7 times.
Really?
That's what my research shows from
Who
I
who
believe
was there 7 times?
Wow.
Trump.
was there 7
Trump.
times.
Let's
Yeah.
show. Go into
On
detail. Go,
Epstein
go, go.
Island.
And some of you guys know my background, so if
Wow.
that is if that is true with Trump,
That's not good.
Is
The
it
reason
really?
how
It
come
means they
Elon,
have stuff on
You
him.
gotta wonder why it's been taking this long for the data to come out. Shell, spill the beans. Let's go.
well, the reason how come Elon, he's making it out to be that, you know, it's the bill was, you know, he's not agreeing with the bill because of his reasons, but really the reasons is because he's done deals with the deep state and he doesn't want people to know. Plus he's got stuff going on here in Texas with his, you know, Tesla universe, you know, like his property and stuff like that. I was going to share last week and I wasn't able to, but basically, you know, I was always wondering about what was going on, like things that are going on here. Like I have people that live in that particular area where he's building that Tesla, you know, complex. And basically they were telling me the residents are losing their rights to their own land by him building this. Elon wants to control freedoms associated with other people's lands with new zoning laws, which would prohibit people from building homes or additions to their home on their own land. If someone already owns a house, they can no longer hope to add on to it, make any additions without him giving the go ahead on that. So he's hoping to pretty much basically like, you know, do what all the other big major people do is, you know, force people out, you know, ranches and people that live in that area.
So how are we going to fight this? How can we fight this?
I mean, basically you just don't, I mean, basically you're just gonna have to like stand your ground and use lawyers and things of that nature to fight against this because, you know, that's what law is for, right? I mean, apparently, but I mean, is it really gonna work? I mean, has anything really worked?
Are you
Lawyers
What,
who
sports
are
what's with
drugs?
what's with
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he was at Epstein too. I saw that. He was.
But
That's
yeah,
the wrong night.
you guys know who Bishop Mari is, right? Bishop Mari. Did you guys ever see the one video where he's basically calling Elon out, telling him to stop what he's doing with shooting the rockets off
No.
with the
Oh.
firmament?
No.
Made
Oh,
reference
okay.
to that. I don't know if anybody heard anything like that, but
Well, yeah, they are screwing up a lot of telescopes and
I don't know. I just
Well,
don't trust any of them guys.
And obviously, the Elon that we're being projected, Elon is in his own matrix. He thinks he's in a matrix. That's the way he acts. So is the person that we're seeing, remember, he had a certain activity in supporting of the World Economic Forum. That's not, it's not dispute, you can't dispute it. There are a number of people who are in positions right now that all have a previous history through that encampment. It's like training for socialism type people. The way I look at it is just look at his history, look at what he's been doing, his technology. Number one, lithium ion batteries, just lithium, and all the extraction and all the resources that go in for the batteries over all these years just for Tesla or his other battery stuff. Okay. The amount of raw mineral extraction, exposure to toxic chemicals, and now they ride, I don't know how many thousands of pounds they are in a car.
Yep.
Okay, that's, he supposedly, because there's a lot of color in the old PayPal and some other things that went on. So you've got his history it's right in front of us, right in front of us. He is toxic products, and he's got Mars, he got Jeff Bezos. All these guys are in their own matrix. They think like this. That's the way they think. This
Yeah.
is their thing. So, maybe we
Or are
put the
they
label
satanic?
transhumanist.
Luciferian?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Are they eugenicists? I don't know. I know Bill Gates is, but
Well, of course,
A
if
lot of
they have any
Epstein's
kind of
people were trans eugenists. A lot. There was a whole deep underground association with that, and ties with all of that type of research. And I mean, their whole goal was wanting to live forever, right? Same with the Masons. Their whole thing with trans, eugenists and all that, and living forever was basically the repeated and deep violation of children, vampirization of children sexually, allowed them to live forever. Epstein's, their stuff is a little bit different, but similar, the same. I mean, that's the way they all are. But again, it goes back to this whole thing. Look, I don't know if you guys can see this. ISIS equals CIA.
CIA, Mossad.
Mossad equals Hamas.
Right.
Where did Muslim Brotherhood come from? Brotherhood. Does this sound familiar?
A long time
Freemasons.
ago. It was in a contract.
Freemasons. You guys need to read the book by Andrew Sinclair. He makes connections about how the Scottish Rites came in contact with people in the Middle East, who came in contact with people in America, who came in contact, and he goes through the whole lineage all the way back to the biblical times of how the Muslim Brotherhood got involved with the Freemasons.
Yep. They made a contract to take over the world.
And you got Joe Biden right there in Scranton, Pennsylvania, with a Scottish Rite Masonic temple.
You've got Obama Muslim Brotherhood, and then Santa Fe, New Mexico has a huge palatial Scottish Rite temple right on the square.
I mean, like the Roman Empire, the Egyptians. I mean, Freemason is basically they worship a pantheon of gods. It's not just they use the Bible as a guide for the universal laws, the things that they can and can't do. Because again, what they're not going to tell you is even Lucifer has to get permission on who he can go against, who he can And no one's going to tell you that on the bad side, right? They're going to make you think that they can just do whatever they want. They have to follow the day. We all bow to the same person.
It's Solomon's
Yeah.
temples,
My ex-husband was
the
a
gateway.
Freemason, and he used to go every month. I thought it was a brotherhood of Christianity. I got to use the lodge up in Allentown to use a huge party for 5 hospitals coming in and going out, and administration at this lodge. Maintenance told me, do you want to see something in the basement? And I went down this winding stone, narrow steps down to the basement. It was a bright red rug with an altar and about 10 chairs in front of it, and on each side in the wall there were benches, Gothic, very old mahogany benches, and it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel, I don't know, I just didn't feel, I have a high sensitivity, and when I stood there I thought, I got to get out of here fast. That's how I felt. And that was in 1983. Okay. And now I'm learning all of this, and I realize where I was now, and I just, the doctors would say to me, how did you get into this place? I didn't really realize what it was. It's,
secret societies.
Yeah, secret societies. You ever notice that Trump looks shorter these days?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Elvis?
Well,
or is it her high heels?
Yeah, right.
A lot of
maybe
actors.
stand next to Barron.
Well, there's a lot of actors out there.
I know.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy how many clones there are, and
was anyone who researches, especially after all these years, knows that implies that we're looking at Elon 2.0 and not the original.
exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
and then you think Trump's running around with all the threats? You think he's running around himself, or do you think if he's in fact, who is in Cheyenne Mountain? He's not going to run around and take all these risks of bullets flying at him. So we have people there, a number of people that play him as well. So I mean, we are really watching a huge production, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, but also
military brilliance.
Doing this, maybe he's laying this out really slowly because he knows if he does it faster, he will be taken out. Okay.
Well, I think it's more in reference to the public consciousness than because I don't think it's going to affect. I mean, he signed on for this a long time ago, but I think this is more the balance of information is based on the public's ability to absorb, this information without smashing their consciousness. I think that's more what we're looking at.
Well, we need collective consciousness in order to move forward.
Yes, we do.
Can I butt in real quick? Because I did have something that was kind of interesting that I made parallels to. I may not have gotten to a lot of things, but this was one thing that I absolutely thought was necessary, and why I showed you that little diagram about, the Muslim aspect of all this, because Trump said a couple of somethings, but in particular about a golden key as a symbol. And I thought to myself, could it be it carries the golden key, which carries profound historic weight, often representing access to hidden truths, power, or sacred responsibility. In ancient Egypt, keys were depicted on monuments as symbols of authority, with the Enki as the key of life, granting pharaohs dominion over life and death, a concept echoed in this book. Can you guys see my camera?
Move it over to
Maybe
your
it's
left.
to the
I don't
left
see
or
the
right.
book
There
there.
you go.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
This book right here. So when I lived over in the Middle East, I had to learn a lot about the Egyptian culture, right? How the dead were buried, how they had their organs in the little the canonical jars and all that. So this book in here, it talks about the concept of unlocking the gates to the afterlife. There's a hold on, let me get this. There's a thing that you see on all the staves of the gods, and they consider it a key to the afterlife, but it doesn't really put it as a key. It's just something that, here, this. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's like a little symbol with the little
Right.
circle on the top of it.
Right.
If you turn it upside down, now it's an upside down cross, but it has a half infinity sign.
Like an ankh.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So was Trump trying to allude or indicate that he was giving Elon a key to the afterlife? Musk has been entrusted with a transformative role, not just in government, but in metaphysical battle against the deep state and the cabal. Could that be a theme? There's also a golden key that aligns with the keys of the kingdom in Matthew 16:19, where Jesus gives Peter the authority to bind and loose on earth and in heaven. A passage interpreted by the Bible study tools as a symbol of divine power and responsibility. These are just things that I'm throwing out there to think about.
I thought about that too, because he did that. He gave power to people.
Yeah. So when Trump also made a thing about Elon the Gray, well, of those of you out there like myself who love Tolkien,
Lord of the Rings.
in Lord of the Rings, is he going to come back as Gandalf the White? So he's giving him an option to come back as a good guy or come back as a bad guy. And you also have to think too, like, so now that they've made it where there's no gray area, right? So now Trump is on one side and Elon's on the other. So it's going to completely eradicate the gray area. Any of those fence sitters or people that tried to pretend they were on Trump's side, if they go ahead and go on Elon's side, it's going to completely give you the list that you've always asked for about who's on our side and who isn't. So these are the kind of things that I'm kind of thinking about lately.
Can I throw a little seed out there? I don't know if anybody knows anything about this, but do you guys? No, I know this is probably like time travel, and they say that the elites know how to count their days.
Yes.
So you're saying that he's giving him the option to pick the way that he's going to come back on this next time around?
Yeah.
Well, what if there is no linear time? So we're using the wrong terminology.
Yeah.
Linear
Well,
time.
remember, Trump said Trump said they control time and space.
Absolutely.
That is scary. That's 0 point energy.
Yeah. How do you account for George Magazine all those years predicting the future?
I had that up last week.
Thomas.
Yep. I give you episode 60 because it's child trafficking.
Yeah.
That's why I have that picture.
We have a lot of abilities that haven't been released within us because of our own blockages.
Yeah, and they use the school programming to keep us from having these kinds of thoughts.
Thoughts. Oh my gosh, me and my kids have exercises every day. So like part of my research that I do on occasion, because I have social media portal that I do my little thoughts on. Like I have all these. I don't know if you see these, but each one of these is like things that I've researched, and I can like go on each one of these topics and like expound on it. Right? Me and my kids go through. So like one of the first ones on this list is something that I found of 100 random facts is a black budget DARPA project in Nevada, Area 51 tests neural implants that let operatives see 10 seconds into the future with 30% suffering temporal psychosis. This is technology that we've had.
Exactly how it works too.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have other ones about time.
Your kids have nightmares a lot, Shell?
No, they don't, because I don't make them feel afraid.
Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of.
There's nothing to be afraid of, because God's always in control. I always give them him as their guide, their hope, their everything that they're supposed to focus on, and it's nothing but that.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
April 6, 2006, there's United States Patent Application Publication, says St. Clair beneath it. App, let's see, the app is US 2006-0071122 AI. That is a full body teleportation system.
Yep.
Inventor John Quincy St. Clair, San Juan, Puerto Rico. It has the address, 51 Kings Court, publication, classifications, abstract. It has the address, 51 Kings Court, publication, classifications, abstract. So, you know, it's all open source. You just got to look
First
for it.
person to take a ride, Baron Trump.
Yeah, just got to research. That's right. Read the Baron Trump books.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. That's where, I just feel like, we really have no choice but to go down this is biblical and spiritual, and, we really have no choice but to throw our faith up and just.
Well, that's how we expand our
run with what we
consciousness.
got.
There's, nothing wrong with it. We just, you got to expand your consciousness. We're here to evolve, not to
Yes.
retract.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I'm going to call it a night.
Yes.
My mind's starting to hurt. So.
Well, don't have nightmares, Rob.
Ashley.
Oh, I never have nightmares. I'm too under the. I can never sleep long enough to get nightmares or day nares or whatever. But I'll see y'all next week. So have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.
Good one, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good
night.
6 o'clock. Yeah. And silence.
Yeah, it's silent.
I think I will sign off too. It's been about 3 hours. Yeah. Well, everybody, I wish you a wonderful week.
Good night.
Thank you for sharing
Susan.
everything. Good night. Blessings to all.
See you too. Good night. Talk to you
Good
soon.
night. You know it.
Hey, Shell, on your chart, what was Mossad equal to?
Okay, here, yeah, I'll show you the chart again. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see.
Oh, Hamas. Okay, thank you.
And then ISIS equals CIA, but the reason that ISIS is important with the CIA is because they won't consider themselves a part of the Muslim Brotherhood, but they are a part of it in terms of logistics and financial support. That's how they support the Muslim Brotherhood.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What else you got there, Shell?
I'm sorry?
What else do you have there?
Oh, do you want me to read you off some of my random facts? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have interest in? Time travel or alien or?
Oh, my interests are broad. So
Aw.
go for it.
Okay, so there I have this one on here. It's a parallel universe reachable through a CERN microportal mirrors Earth, but is ruled by a centennial AI that bans organic life. There's a gateway to a hell-like dimension in Iraq's Anbar province